when you're logging in. Twitch has like the highest level of security possible.
Okay, are we live? Someone please check.
Check and refresh,
I
go.
think we might be. Fingers crossed.
Offline live! You did it.
We're live.
Okay, it says we're live. No, it says we're live. I see a live picture too. I think we're back.
You
Yeah,
see
we're
us,
back.
see us talking. We're back. We're back in it, folks.
That
Welcome,
only took you like half a
welcome
year.
to Wandering Gods. This is Blades in the Dark. I'm Speedy, Video Store Cowboy Pablo Lunacy. We're all
That was a
here.
quick introduction.
We're gonna have a good time. I don't know what the last thing you guys saw was before all of this went to shit.
Pretty sure it was Pablo.
Yeah, I guess Pablo, recap your thing again, because that was the thing.
This is
I
big,
don't know
dumb,
why
ugly.
everything is so bad on this computer right now.
He's a real quick, big, dumb, ugly, punch ghost, don't know what money is, Speedy's underling. Muscles drive, good. Summary.
Muscles draft good.
That was a really good, just short description
Honestly,
of
if
your
I
character.
asked for a
Good job.
TLDR, that's what I'd get. We saw the entire recap, and that was it.
Okay.
Which entire recap?
What do you mean entire recap? That could be anything.
Did we have a recap? I missed it. Do it again.
Did we have a previous story? Have we played this before? Was I not there? Seriously,
Oh,
man.
I'm sorry. I meant to tell you. This is episode 2.
Oh shit.
How is? Wait.
No.
I think we got the recap about the world. So we didn't get the character introductions. Is my best guess.
Okay, so that
Well,
means
no. That was Video Store Cowboy was the one who asked recap about the world.
that's
He's
what
the one
I'm just
here.
confirming.
Let's just go with we're here and this is the thing that's happening. I'll recap Jericho too. Jericho grew up in the slums. Everything was terrible. His sister died and turned into a ghost, and now he hates everything. And turned into a vice dealer and wants to destroy everything. Thank you for the bits. Beautiful.
Come on, I had to become top tier. It was so
had
easy.
to.
I had to become top tier.
Dude, I'm making so many cents.
I don't think you're making any sense right now.
All right. Lunacy, explain Moon.
Explain moon. So the moon is a thing in the sky. No, I don't know if you guys have known me. I'm currently being chained to a chair because I'm a good friend of Speedy's and he dragged me into this campaign. Please send help, I swear. Please. I'm gonna be playing Cavell Karstis, and who goes by the name Moon. And so basically, I grew up as my family was a wealthy merchant in the Dagger Isles. Well, they were until my father decided to take one too many bad deals in anger of a few too many bad people, and he ended up with an axe in the back. So I had no family, and I ended up being taken by another merchant. Her name was Thina, and I worked as her basic eyes and ears. I'm not a guard. I wasn't a scout. Pretty much my job was to sit somewhere, hide, and basically wait and see what the other side's doing and make sure before the swords and pistols were drawn that not everybody was dead. So I did a good job working under her, except she had too many shady debts with the Circle of Flame. So she got indebted to them, tried to flee, got another axe in the back. Yeah, that went well. So now I work in the city. I'm a merchant spy. Basically, somebody pays me. I find out what the other side of the table's hiding, what goods they have, what they're not. I can be a lookout, sit there, watch, make sure that not everybody pulls the sword on each other at the same time. But the debt's been passed on to me because I became Thina's second in command. So yeah, I have money to buy and steal, and I need it.
You need it.
Yes, I do.
Excellent.
Save Lunacy 2K17, thanks. That's how I feel right now.
Save the moon.
Yes, and
Also,
I
I
go by the name
really
Moon.
like that you chose the name Moon and I chose the name Sky, just completely independently of each other.
Yeah,
Alright, I'll be the
Muscles.
sun.
I choose Moon every single time, so it's fine.
Oh,
It just
man.
happened to work out.
When you guys let me in on this?
Would you like to be stars? Would you like to be the sun, the moon, and the sky?
Stars is just a little bit too long of a word for me, but muscles.
It's wait a minute. Sir, do you know how numbers work?
Not at all.
No, he literally doesn't.
How do you count your money then?
I don't. I have no idea how to do anything
He
with money.
literally doesn't know what money is.
Oh,
My vice is gambling, by the way, and I just like throw coins. I don't know what it means.
do you go to a craps table and just literally throw the dice just for fun? And they're like, "Here, we need this," and you're like, "Here, I'll take it."
Yes.
Throw more die and have fun.
Muscles might be my new favorite character. I'm just gonna say it, guys. Muscles might be my new favorite character.
That is so perfect.
All right. Let's get into
Okay.
it.
All right. Well, without further ado, originally I had wanted to do some voices, and I Speedy had made a request about that, but the duration, lack of time, that kind of a thing, it just prevented me. So, let's talk about the premise of a session in the game, just to kind of give the audience a little bit of a setup and understanding, and also give you guys an idea of where things typically start. So the situation is basically what they call the premise of the game, and the situation basically is you start at the moment of your job, your heist, whatever it is that you're going to be doing, and everything kind of plays sort of into a flashback about your planning and about the information that you get. So mechanically speaking, we're right where you guys are going to be when you actually start. Story-wise, we'll fill in the blanks as we go with flashbacks and other things. And we talked about the flashback mechanics specifically as a method of solving things moving forward. So previously, you were all sitting in a local pub inside of the docks, which is a neighborhood where the Leviathan ships come in from the sea and other transported goods that actually can brave the ocean, from various cities that are actually around the world, come in. And the docks is kind of a seedy sort of, run down kind of an area where there are a bunch of basically taverns and pubs and boarding houses for sailors and for various types of individuals traveling. It's pretty run down, and as you get farther back from the actual waterfront, you get into warehouses where things are typically stored as they're being moved and transported throughout the rest of the city. But you all found yourselves a couple of nights ago in a place called the Wandering God. And then it happens to be run by a proprietor who runs with a strong hand on his establishment by the name of Simon. And Simon is the kind of proprietor that's always there with a laugh and a drink. And if there's a fight, he's always there to break it up and kind of keep things mellow and settled. And there's something different about the Wandering God because it attracts an interesting level of clientele. You see all kinds in there. It's the kind of place where deals are made in a way that you don't see at other establishments on the docks. And so when you go to the docks, it's more about finding a job or looking for work than it is about just going and drinking. You're not going to get drunk. You're not going to, to find, someone to spend the night with. You're going because you're looking for work. And it's in this situation that you all find yourself in the Wandering God. And Simon has actually invited Sky to bring his crew to come and actually talk to a contact that he has that is looking for some work to be executed. And so when you all kind of had wandered into the Wandering God, you find the place really bustling with life, right? So there's all kinds going on, but it's all kind of, separated among the tables, and there's definitely whispers going on, and there's some, music going on in the background. There's like a stage with a piano and a fiddle, and somebody who's playing a washboard. But it's just kind of, very folksy and kind of a thing, but it's definitely a lighter air than you would expect, again, in the rest of the docks. And so when you walk in, Simon greets you and brings you, over to a table and says, just go ahead and sit here and I'll send her over soon. And he brings you your drinks, your normal drinks. He knows all of you incredibly well and calls you all by your actual name, not by your nicknames. And so as you're kind of, looking around and kind of, absorbing what's going on around the wandering god, you see far off in the distance, sitting in a corner, a woman with bright red hair, who you know by the name Orange Crush. And Orange Crush is doing her typical, she's having a conversation, with a potential client. And, she's, I believe, a spider. So she's making a deal to kind of get the information that particular person needs. And so that sort of dealing is going on. And she catches Sky's eye and kind of waves at him as, he wanders into the table. And looking off to the side, Moon kind of sees, in the distance, a group of 4 courtesans, all very, fantastically dressed in different, bright colors, and their representative, their man about town, their second, is kind of standing there, and you recognize them as the Fantas. And they are clearly waiting for somebody to kind of walk up and, to make a deal with them. And Muscles is just kind of looking around waiting for his drink. And it is with this, a woman approaches you and says, Simon says to me that you are capable individuals. This woman is dressed incredibly fine in head to toe, arms covered in this beautiful embroidered blue outfit with white lace, but she is literally covered in head to toe. It's very Victorian in the outfit, and she has her hair done immaculately, and she is flanked by quite a large gentleman who is clearly her manservant or her bodyguard. And she looks at each guy and she says, "Are you capable of doing good work?"
Capable of doing good work, bad work, whatever work needs to be done.
Do you have morals?
Aye.
Do you follow a code?
Of sorts.
What about your men here?
They follow me.
And she looks from Sky and looks over at Moon and Muscles and kind of takes each of them in, appreciating what it is that they're sitting at the table. And she says, okay, well then meet me at this address. And she hands you a card, a calling card, essentially, tomorrow night. And there will be much business to discuss. And she kind of bleeds away. She doesn't even introduce herself. She just walks away.
Got a job, boys.
I lean over to Sky and I just note that they said Simon says, and I find that hilarious. Therefore, we have to do good work. Because it said Simon says you do good work, therefore we have to do good work.
Yeah, I
Hey,
kind of
boss.
felt that I said that it was just kind of weird.
Hey, boss, when's this contact showing up?
Don't worry about it, Muscles. Don't worry about a thing.
So,
Okay, then.
as you kind of look at the card, right?
Mhm.
You kind of turn it over and you see an address that's located in Brightstone. And Brightstone is an upscale district, very, lots of wealth, very upper class mansions. A lot of the people who are making money on the backs of others, of individuals throughout the rest of the city, live in Whitestone. But the address is kind of interesting because it's towards the edge, towards the waterfront. And when you look at the card, it says Rosalind as her name, and it's got the address of where you're supposed to meet her. And then there is a mark off in the corner. It's an emblem, or for lack of a better word, it's like a logo, but it's like an embossed thing on it, and it says DS.
Do I recognize DS as being particularly meaningful?
No, you do not, because you've not had any interaction with this particular. This does not stir anything for you knowledge wise. You could, you could potentially ask Simon. You could ask around. That you have plenty of options. This is one of those points where you have an opportunity to really kind of explore what you know or who you're trying to engage with prior to the meeting. So,
when I came in here, was she talking with anyone else who was in here?
No, she was not. She Simon sat you down, and then she showed up, and then she left. She came directly to you. Her manservant was walking with her, and when she left, they left immediately out the door. It was a very quick sort of scheduled thing almost. It was almost too creepy how quickly she knew that you were there and came and then disappeared.
Did Simon say hello to her?
No, he did not. Although there was an acknowledgement when she walked in the door, Simon pointed her in your direction.
Okay. I suppose I'll turn to Simon. And I'll say, do you know that woman who just came in here?
Rosalind is a good contact. Rosalind is a lot of money. Keep that relationship clean.
I'm going to assume the money is not clean.
So we can trust her?
No. She works for the Dimmer Sisters, so no. But
Dimmer
you
Sisters.
can trust her money.
Who are the Dimmer Sisters?
Okay, so you would definitely know when you had never seen the embossed DS before, but when he mentions the name, the Dimmer Sisters, you are very aware of who they are. Rumor and legend around the city seems to indicate that they are witches and that they are incredibly powerful in the arcane and the occult. But it's all rumor and hearsay. You have never had any personal experience with her. I mean, with them, right? So everything that you've heard has been, back room, bar room conversation, or whispered conversations with other merchants who might have had dealings, but it's always in hushed tones because they're always concerned that somebody is actually listening.
Well, you know what they say, witches get stitches.
That's not the phrasing, sir. That is not the phrasing.
Walk out. Come on, boys.
As you're walking away, Simon shakes his head and says, "Be careful." And you barely hear it as you leave the establishment.
Thanks, Simon.
So we'll cut to the next day when you're supposed to actually meet with her, and the three of you are stepping up to the address in Brightstone, where she requested that you meet her at the agreed time. Now, so because there is no sunlight, time is an agreed upon construct that everybody, just generally understands. There are 24 hours in the day, but there are accurate clocks that are designed to actually keep this time. So she basically asked you to meet her at 8 p.m., which it's still dark outside regardless of the time period, but that's usually accepted as the evening hour. And as you approach the address that you find yourself on the from the card, you see a wild overgrowth of vines and bushes kind of coming over this iron gate that is it is the entrance of the address that's your location, and otherwise it's a granite brick wall of an estate of some kind that just kind of encompasses where you're supposed to be. And these vines are all just kind of crawling and kind of making their way and wrapping around the iron
Let's start things off
iron
right.
gates.
Nat
And as
20
you
to
approach,
Speedy,
the
or
doors
whatever
just
the
kind of
equivalent
open
is in this
for
game.
you. And you kind of move through the gate as you kind of look around, and you find yourself in an overgrown, just sort of courtyard kind of setting. There's nobody there that opened the gate for you.
I'm taking lookout.
You're doing what?
I'm taking lookout. I'm standing by the gate and not really moving. I'm gonna let Sky and Muscles walk in and deal with the negotiations.
Okay, so as you see the gates kind of close, the vines just kind of attach themselves together around where the two gates would potentially meet.
Oh.
But it just kind of the vines just kind of wrap themselves, and as you're kind of standing there, you're kind of watching this as Sky and Muscles approach the mansion that's there, and it's a very southern kind of a style mansion with columns and a second story and a beautiful ornate door, and there is a chain with a lamp kind of shimmering there with light, and you realize that it is actually the electric light that everybody has talked about. Electricity is not prolific around the city, other than the ectoplasmic lightning walls that are essentially that surround the city, but in certain places, in certain locations, electricity has been extended to, and this is one of those places where there is a dancing, you see the shimmer of electric light. And as you approach the door kind of opens, and you see the manservant gesturing for you to actually walk inside.
So, quick question. Sorry, this was small off topic. What are the roads lit with then? Are they torches?
For the most part, torches. So in some locations along in Brightstone, and actually what you'll find in White Crown, which is where the government portion of the city is, White Crown is very much all wired for electric light. Okay. But most other locations aren't. Certain places that can afford to have wired themselves up to it. It's a slow progressing kind of a thing. Imagine sort of like turn of the century America, where Edison was slowly deploying all of the the wiring and the lamps and everything for the electric light, but it wasn't prolific yet.
Yep.
So there's still gas lamps all over the place that are lighting most of the streets. There's still torches. There's still other means of generating light in some way, shape, or form using fire and fuel. So
okay,
cool. Also, I want to thank Yami for that $5 donation. Says nat 20 to me, or whatever the equivalent is in that game. So cool. I get a crit right off the bat. Thanks, Yami. Love you.
Pretty badass.
Yeah. So we're walking up to this place, and we've been greeted by this manservant. Same one we saw yesterday.
Yep, exactly the same one. And as you are able to, because you're paying attention to him and you get a closer look at him, he looks a little paler than you would expect. He's at least 6'5". He is dressed immaculately, but he is definitely very still. And just when he makes his moves, they're very pronounced. They're intentional. And as he's kind of, gesturing you inside to come inside to the waiting area, essentially.
He's a ghost.
What do you do?
I'll just walk on in.
I love Muscles.
I mean, Muscles is walking in. I've got Muscles with me, so I'm not afraid of anything.
Okay, so you walk inside as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm
the two
keeping
of you
an
kind
eye
of
on this manservant, if he's behind us or is he in front of us leading us in.
Well, so he's standing at the door, but the door is big enough so that he's able to stand off to the side and hold it open for you. And you walk inside, and you walk into this essentially this hallway, and it's an incredibly large hallway, probably 20 feet across inside. And there's a stairway, that kind of wraps its way up to the second floor, and there's a couple of different exits off of this room. but it's essentially a greeting area and a place where you would decloak or take off your your jacket or whatever and do that kind of a thing. And it's beautiful and it's ornate, and there are electric lights all over, electric lamps essentially, the four-sided sort of lamp, kind of an apparatus that you would find of like an exterior thing, but they're along the walls, at probably somewhere about 10 feet apart, but they light the entire room and they flicker, but they're clearly electric lights because the flickering is not normal in the sense of like a flame. So
Yep.
the room is sort of eerily lit, and you walk inside and you kind of look around and there's nobody else to greet you there except this manservant. And as you kind of enter, he looks back outside and points at Moon and says,
I start walking towards the porch.
okay. So as you begin to walk towards the porch, the skin and the hairs on the back of your neck begin to kind of tickle a little bit, and you feel a prickling of almost electricity behind you.
I'm slightly disconcerted as I walk in.
You walk inside. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say to the manservant, we were told to come here for a job. What do you got for us?
He closes the door, and as Moon kind of turns around and looks out the door, he sees these weird sort of wispy kind of things just kind of floating around in the courtyard area as the door shuts, and the manservant looks at you and points off to the left towards the door.
Muscles. Be
Who are we
ready to
meeting in
punch
there?
ghosts.
He just continues to point.
You mute or something?
He just continues to point.
I'll just walk right on in.
Wait, muscles. One sec. I'm gonna need you to. I need you to be ready. I need you to be ready to punch some ghosts.
Always ready to punch people.
Okay, that's fine by me. I don't even know why I work with you.
As you say that, you hear the knuckles in the manservant's left hand kind of crack a little bit as he just creates a fist, that he's got like hanging off to his side, but you hear the cracks just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he continues to point at the room towards the left, a doorway towards the left.
Sky, can we go?
Let's walk to the left.
As you all begin to make your way towards that direction and begin and make your way through the doorway, you hear a scream off in the distance on the second floor and up to the right. And as you enter the room, you find an incredibly well-lit, candle-lit greeting, like a drawing room of some kind where there are various, chairs and couches, and there's a little cart off to the side where there is clearly alcohol and various other types of refreshment on the cart. And as the last of you kind of steps into the room, the door closes behind you, and you see Rosalind just kind of sitting off in one corner in a drawing room chair, and she says, "Welcome. I'm glad that you are not late."
Of course, never late. Man, your manservant out there is pretty weird. Why doesn't he talk?
We took his ability to speak away when he told us what he thought.
What do you
Now,
think?
are we here for business?
Suppose
I
so.
thought so.
Ayami, thank you for that donation. Gives a crit to both Muscles and Moon.
Nice.
I love crits, especially when they don't pan out.
This is going to get really interesting really quickly. So, Rosalind looks at you expectantly. Are we ready for business?
I'm always ready for business, man.
Simon speaks highly of you. He says that you've done one or two jobs specifically for him in the past. Simon's not an easy judge of character. So,
No,
I trust that what I ask of you tonight you will do with discretion.
Seems you trust what Simon says.
God damn it.
I'm going to stop using that phrase just so that we can not deal with that.
Nope. You did it.
As you might have known, she says, I represent my employers, and I am asking you to retrieve something for us. Something that we have lost. Can you do that for us?
What'd you lose? And why aren't you more careful?
It was taken from us. It was being brought to us, but it was taken in transit and is now residing in the night market.
Who
Do
took
you
it?
think? We're not quite sure.
Oh.
We know its location, though, and maybe you can help us determine who retribution will be dealt to.
Oh, I'll find it. I'll find everybody else who also touched it too. I'll get every
Is that something that you are capable of doing?
just a bit. I'll find anything missing from piece of jewelry.
We are
on
willing
your
to
wrist.
pay.
Mhm. Sorry.
Coin's the
Go
only
ahead.
thing that matters. But if you want us to do this, we're going to need to know what we're looking for.
She looks at you.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, go
Can I
ahead. Go ahead,
whisper
Moon.
over to Sky and say, you might want to figure out who we're taking it from before we make more enemies. I've got enough on my list. I'm on enough people's lists.
Well, I think Muscles is going to get you on many more lists, but that's just me.
Joy.
She looks at you as you ask that question, and she pauses for a second, takes a sip from a cup that appears to be a rather ornate teacup. Takes that sip, puts it back down on its saucer, and says, there is a young woman that was being brought to us that we were going to help, but she was taken. And she was taken to the night market. We don't know by who. Like I said, you are welcome to tell us who retribution is to be dealt to. And she says, you must bring her back to us in one night. She is delicate. She is hurting, and we must help.
I'm assuming in one piece.
That is to be assured.
I can do that.
Now, I don't know too much about you. I know a little about the people you work for, and I don't know what kind of help you intend to give this girl.
She will go nowhere. We wish to help her.
Helps
These
a funny
people
thing
seem
around
friendly.
Well, if
Keep it up,
Muscles
Muscles.
trusts
You're my
you-
here. Helps a funny thing around here.
Muscles trusts you. He's a good judge of character.
Is
I
he?
can't say no anymore.
Is he? Are you
I
sure
don't
about
know.
that? I mean,
So she looks at you expectantly and she says, well, can you do it? Can you do this for us?
We can
In a
do
day.
anything for you. Can you pay us? I'm talking numbers.
So just for reference about the currency of the game, just this is a meta kind of stepping back kind of for a second. So coin is the currency of the realm, and one coin actually happens to represent a lot because it's not necessarily a dollar value. It anybody see John Wick? Okay,
no,
Wait,
so
yes.
in
Yes, I did.
unfortunate.
So in John Wick, a coin represents a value of a job kind of a thing, right? Or it's an element of a huge action or a trade, right? So like recovering a body or hiding a body that somebody had killed is one coin per body kind of a thing, right? So it has an intrinsic weight that is larger than, say, like $100 or $1,000 kind of a thing. It's really about an action in the underworld. And
it's
so
like
coin
curry a
in
favor in a way, right?
Exactly. And so in Blades, one coin has the same value basically. And so as she looks at you, she kind of says, "We will pay at least 10 coin for her recovery."
That's a high price
And
for
that
just
is
some
on-
girl you want to help.
And that's on top of Simon's 2 coin for the referral.
Oh yes, 12. That's an even number. We can split it evenly. I'm okay with this.
Muscles doesn't take a cut.
Oh, true. Never mind. I don't care anymore. I forgot we don't
I
pay
never
him.
take money. I just give,
You just provide the service.
Yeah.
Well, like I depend on Speedy to like get me food and stuff. Basically,
Yeah.
I don't ever handle money.
Other than when you gamble.
Other when I gamble.
Who knows whether you win or lose that?
So she kind of looks at you and says, "Is that sufficient?"
That'll do. We taking half up front.
You will take no upfront, but we will provide whatever you need in order to get the job done.
I'm gonna need a
Payment
name.
is on delivery.
I'm gonna need the details on how she's lost. I need a name. I need a location on where the night market. You know where she is. I'm gonna need some details.
So she looks at you while you're doing that. Does Sky want to try to roll or try to intimidate or try to coerce in some way to accomplish the half up front? I mean, because that seems like a perfect opportunity where you could start to use some of your skills as a spider.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'll say
You talk her way into a problem.
this job's not an easy one. And I can't say for sure that I trust you. This is the first job I've worked for you. Now you know you can trust me. Simon's referred me. He's a good man. But if you want me to do this job, then we're gonna need something up front to know that I won't just get screwed out of this.
Okay. So what type of action are you going to use to roll this? Like, what are you going to use to either coerce or intimidate or...
I imagine that would be consort or sway. What's consort for exactly?
Yeah, that was my question.
So let me look it up real quick. Let me pull up the actions for consort. Consort is consort with connections from your heritage, background, friends, or rivals to gain access to resources, information, people, or place. I will accept that because you actually used Simon's name as a part of this.
Nice.
Okay, so go ahead and click on consort.
And so I did that, and now position I probably want controlled, right?
Well, so there's one of 3 situations that come out for position, right? So controlled is you're in you really have an advantage in this particular situation.
Okay.
Risky is there's some element of loss that could happen that would adversely affect you. And then desperate is you attempting to do something that would be absolutely impossible otherwise. And success would mean would have a great deal of significance.
Got it.
Greater significance. To me, this sounds like it's a risky situation. Because it's not life or death, but at the same time, it's also not a situation where you have every advantage in this situation. So,
Okay, got it.
all right, and so the effect is where things can also get really interesting. So so the effect can be, let's see,
Standard, limited, or great.
I think that the effect here is going to be great because it's going to put half the value of what you're looking for in your pocket, and give you a bunch of potential to make things happen prior to actually the actual job itself. So I'm going to go ahead and let you roll with great.
Cool. And bonus dice 0.
So bonus dice is if anybody wants to help you, or you want to take a devil's bargain, or you want to push yourself. So you could do a couple of things on your own. Pushing yourself means you take 2 stress, which is your general metric for the character's survival rate. But you would get 1d for doing that. So essentially, you would be taking on a strain of some kind. Or you can take a devil's bargain. And a devil's bargain is where you would get the same 1d effect, but there are consequences that can come into play specifically for that you may or may not that may or may not affect right now or at some point down the road in the score. So
how do you help somebody? Because theoretically, I can use my consort to help him. Correct?
Don't worry, I'll help.
Well, so if you're offering assistance, then what you would do is you would take 1 stress and give him an additional 1d. So he could do what he could do is he could push himself or take a devil's bargain and get 1d. You could assist him with that, and also take you would take 1 stress, and then it would be he would get an additional die as well. So
okay. I was just curious. I don't think I'm going to do that.
So you don't like him that much, I say.
That's
No.
I mean,
I think. You should
Hey,
take
do you
one.
want muscles
He
to
just works
assist
for
you?
me.
Do you want muscles to assist you in this negotiation?
Muscles could probably intimidate, right? So that's.
Oh,
I
I
think
could
you should
do
take
that.
3 up front.
I'll just roll it flat. And I didn't
Nice.
do it.
You did horribly. You did absolutely horribly. So you clearly failed.
Jesus.
And so she kind of looks at you as you are trying to make this happen. And she says, "Did I make a mistake? Did I trust what Simon had to say and that was wrong? Does Simon not know who you are? Does he not know your work?" And as she's saying this, the door opens behind all of you, and the 6'5" bodyguard is just kind of standing there. And she says, "I think you're going to do it for half the price now. To prove
Great.
yourself."
Good job, Sky. Really did it for us. Really. Now we're gonna have to punch our way out.
Hey,
aren't
maybe
we?
you could have helped.
I could have.
You chose not to.
It's fine. I wouldn't worry about it.
Or do we call this a day? And as she says that, she looks back at the bodyguard.
Call it a day. Let's go home. No campaign.
Hey,
Get
like I
another
said,
job. Write something up real quick.
you guys, like I said on screen, you guys are more than welcome to derail this as much as possible, and I will provide you with the adventure.
I'm gonna look at
no.
Rosalind and say, "Can I have a name?"
4, she says as she looks back at you.
Who am I looking for?
The child's name is Angelica. She is a
Angel.
young girl of 12, and
Oh,
she
okay.
has issues that we can help.
Oh, those
And
could
as
possibly
she
important.
says this, there's this gravitas and this vibe and energy that's kind of rolling off of her. And when she says it, it seems like the room gets a little bit darker. And as she finishes, the lights, the flickering of the candles just kind of come back, and the room takes on its glow again. So do we have a deal at 5 coin?
I just have one last question. How many people am I going to be How many people are going to be pining for my head after I get this girl? How many times am I going to be watching my back at night? How many times am I going to be watching their back at night?
And she looks at you and she says, "That depends on how careful you're going to be. Bring me a name, tell me who's responsible, and retribution will be delivered."
I look over at Sky and I go, "Well, this will go well. This will go great. I can be conspicuous." I'll have half the night market on me by the end of tomorrow.
I don't like your deal, but I'll take it. You seem like a valuable connection regardless, and I hope this means that when we deliver, we can continue to work together in the future.
She looks at you for a second and kind of ponders your face. She looks at the details, and you can see her eyes kind of trace the outline of your face and the features of your face. And she eventually says, "That is entirely up to you. Here are the details." And she hands you an envelope, a very thick envelope. And as you take it, there are papers, and it's packaged in such a way that it appears to be a fold of many papers encapsulated by this envelope. And she says, "You will do this tomorrow night. This young woman cannot survive beyond the third day. Bring her to us. You may go now." And she dismisses you as she begins to pick up her cup off of the saucer and begin to take another sip. And you see that the man, the bodyguard manservant, has stepped kind of back into the room and points you in the direction of the hallway.
Yeah, I'm walking out.
All right.
Man points, I walk.
All right.
That's
We're going to do a cut. We're going to fade out as you guys are walking into the hallway, and we're going to fade into the location. The papers that you received from Rosalind indicated a warehouse in the center of the night market. Now, the night market is sort of like a bazaar or a merchant's district where there are all kinds of trade goods and goods that are coming in by train from other cities around the Isles, which is the larger peripheral area, the larger countryside area of where Doskvol currently resides. Mm-hmm. Goods come in and out via train for the most part, or occasionally they come to the docks through the boats that come in. But the night market is where most commerce actually happens on a day-to-day basis. Well, yeah, on a day-to-day basis in the world, or in the city of Doskvol. So pretty much anything that a merchant or a skilled tradesman might provide or do can be found there.
That is
and
so far from the docks.
I'm sorry, what?
That is so far from the docks.
You're absolutely right. It is incredibly far from the docks, but it is right next to where the train depot is. So, if you look at the map, where everything is, there's the Gothic rail station.
Yep.
That depot, comes in and out through the ectoplasmic lightning wall that encapsulates the city. And so this is the main throughway for all trade goods that are manufactured on any of the other cities that are connected by the train. So the majority of trade goods come in that direction. Anything that's coming from the docks might be coming from a location that's farther than the Isles. And so it would be something that's rare or something that is not seen very often, but, incredibly highly regarded or, quite well sought after. But so as you're in the night market now, you find yourself at the location of the warehouse where this young woman, Angelica, essentially is being kept, and it's in the center of the night market. It's a 2-story warehouse. From what you can tell from outside observation, and then we'll start talking about things like that you wanted to do in respect to flashbacks and that kind of a thing. But the location has no windows except for a 2nd-story window on the back side of the building, and it's quite a large warehouse. It's pretty much in the center of the night market, very close to essentially what's called the bazaar, which is the marketplace itself, where all the average trade goods are happening and the commerce is happening. As a part of the packet, you were given some other information about the building itself. It's mostly a first, it's a one-story kind of a situation with cargo containers, stacked pretty much all the way through. But there is a second story in the back, and it is a kind of an office setting of some sort. And that is where you assume, based on the information that you were given, Angelica is actually being placed. And a part of this packet, you also have a sketch drawing, a charcoal drawing of a 12-year-old girl that is labeled Angelica. And so depending upon any other actions that you guys might want to take prior to this snatch and grab job, will determine, if there's information in the packet or if you discover it through observation or anything else. So this is the kind of situation where your skill sets, your contacts, your crew actually makes a huge difference.
Yeah. So what I can do then is I can theoretically say that over the course of the earlier part of the day, I sat and I watched everybody who walked in and out of this warehouse, right? I can try and roll a survey for that then.
You would absolutely do that if that's the skill that makes the most sense.
That makes the most sense. This is I was sitting there and I was watching as people walked in and out. And
that's survey. Okay. All right. So with survey, explain to me how you're doing it. That way I kind of understand generally
how I would presume is I would either be, I'm assuming the entrance is like the doors are somewhere near the bazaar or at least different areas. What I would try and do is I would either be walking around this bazaar looking like I'm actually looking to purchase anything, but I would be mostly like out of the corner of my eye watching to see if anybody approaches it. And if maybe they were walking down a back alley or something, I would then start to follow them a bit and try and keep behind them and see who walked in.
Okay.
Or if I saw somebody walk in and I didn't catch them, I'd wait for them to come out and see if I can get a glimpse of them.
So you're actually kind of moving and kind of casing the actual
it may be a
location and area around it, right? Okay. Is anybody going to offer you an assist? Is there any the help that's going to happen with that?
I'll throw an assist.
Okay. All right. So we're going to call that a survey, and I believe it's going to be and again, this is where the discussion comes, but it seems like it's a pretty controlled situation. Mm-hmm. You're not taking any type of risk. You're not making yourself incredibly obvious. So it sounds like your approach is very much just kind of observation.
Yep.
Without intent. Okay. All right. So controlled is what we'll call it. Effect. It sounds like it'd be a standard to me, unless anybody can think of a reason why it might be greater or.
Yeah. I can't think of a reason why it'd be greater.
Okay. All right. And so with the Sky's assist, how is Sky assisting Moon in this, this approach?
So Sky knows pretty much every inch of this city. He's in his previous, in his dealings, has gone pretty much all throughout and knows a good deal about just about everywhere. And so he'd been to the night market just a few days ago and seen this place. And so he kind of knows like the kind of nooks and crannies that might be good for someone to kind of scout out, get a good vantage point on something like this.
Okay, and so does that mean that he's going to position himself in support of what Moon is doing? Is he going to recommend to Moon?
He's going to recommend to Moon somewhere to go. In fact, I'd say actually he he's got contacts in the night market area, and he knows someone who owns a building right next door. So he can get up on the roof very easily and get a good vantage point of the side that has the window and the most necessary view.
Okay, let me look at your character sheet real quick because this actually might play into. All right, so I'm looking at your character sheet And there's a couple of things that actually might apply. First is you've got the special ability Foresight.
Right.
Which means you can assist a player without paying stress.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an opportunity for you to use that. Also, you don't have any shrewd friends. Okay. That was going to be my other suggestion. So, yeah, you can take the 1 stress and offer the assist, or you can do the Foresight and not offer and not take the stress. It's entirely up to you. At this point, you've got no stress. So, I mean,
I'll use the Foresight. Might as well.
Okay.
Can you only use Foresight once?
No, he gets it twice per session.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to get a +1 to your dice roll, but you're not going to, and that's unless you want to take a devil's bargain or you want to push yourself.
I would add. I'm just adding 1 bonus die, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I'm not going to take a devil's bargain.
Okay, good. Nice. Okay, so a 6 is generally a complete success. A 1 through 3 is a failure. A 4 and a 5, or a 4 or a 5, is generally considered a success with complications of some kind. Now, the neat thing about the fact that you got a 5 is that that's the determining factor for your success roll, right? So, as you're kind of taking this in and you're kind of looking around and you're kind of absorbing, everything that's going on from a setting perspective, as you're kind of observing the warehouse. You're noticing that there is definitely a pattern to about 4 individuals who continue to kind of walk the building. They make their way into the bazaar. They kind of scan the bazaar, and then they walk back. And they're walking in pairs of 2 when they're doing this. And they have a very clear pattern about how they're doing this. Now, with that in mind, you also notice when they make a change in respect to their personnel, and that happens on a regular basis every 4 hours. And when that happens, there appears to be a window of about 10 minutes when their patrol pattern is broken. One of the things that is noticed, though, or one of the things that you notice, though, as you're kind of watching this, is you notice a street urchin who also is observing you observe that. And when you notice him, he begins to take off in the opposite direction from where the warehouse is.
Interesting. I'm not going to pursue that, actually.
Wow, okay.
He's running
away. I was giving you an opportunity to derail, and you didn't derail. I'm impressed. That's awesome.
What I'm instead going to do is I'm going to go find Sky, and I'm going to tell him I need names of who owns that warehouse. Tell me who owns this.
Can I just roll concert to see if I know who owns it?
I don't know if that's a concert.
Yeah, it might not be.
So let me look at Sky's character sheet real quick. That
Just
seems almost like a study, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Or even a survey. But I'm willing to give you either a survey or a study or yeah. And I'm actually, because of the way you described your experience with the night market and your experience with the city, I'm actually going to give you an additional D6 without you taking any type of stress or anything else, because it really plays into who your character is and what's going on.
Okay, and so this is controlled or risky?
This is definitely a controlled situation. The effect is going to be limited.
Okay.
Unless anybody can think of a reason why, because it's very specifically about that one building.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, our first 6.
1 and a 6.
Excellent. Okay, so this is the
Only
first.
6 matters, right?
Only the 6 matters, and this is our first success. Okay, excellent. So from what you understand, in your dealings as a merchant and being a part of the legitimate business that you are in doing your dealings as a nefarious individual, legitimate, you understand that who necessarily is advertised as the owner of a particular building is not the actual owner of the building. What you do know is that while the people that Moon has observed appear to be of a particular organization known as the Great Cloaks, a little bit of coin and conversation around the bazaar, which the warehouse butts up against, and a little bit of time, you come to find out that the warehouse is actually owned by an organization by the name of the Circle of Flame.
Oh boy!
And so you know them to be the Great Cloaks, who appear to be doing the patrolling, are ex Bluecoats, who are the city guard, for lack of a better description. But the Bluecoats are actually quite a corrupt organization. The Great Cloaks are just Bluecoats who have decided to leave the legal business and just become straight up criminals. So they're essentially, two halves of the same coin, right?
The Great
they're one
Cloaks,
side of
correct?
this. Say what?
Were you talking about the Great Cloaks? Sorry, I spaced for
Yes, the Great Cloaks are essentially one half of the criminal organization that is the Bluecoats, right?
Okay.
They're just the openly criminal versus being, having the guise of being actual officers of law.
Yep, I understand.
The Circle of Flame, as you come to discover, owns this particular building, and the Circle of Flame deals in occult and arcane items and business dealings, for lack of a better description. What you do know is that slavery does occur in the districts. In the different districts, it's not openly practiced, but slavery does occur, and there are certain locations around the Isles where it's openly practiced, even though the Imperium, which is the government organization that really kind of runs all of the Isles, and Doskvol specifically, frowns on it. So it's accepted, but not really accepted legally.
I'm going to be in so much shit for this. I'm so screwed.
Yeah, Moon,
So
you're in deep with those Circle of Flame, aren't you?
I mean, I'm not exactly friends with them. I just kind of have a small issue to prepay with them.
Do you think some random goons there would know your face?
No. The issue is that when they catch word that they had something stolen, they're going to find out who took it. And I bet you my bottom dollar, which I don't have very much of at the moment, that they're going to pin it on us, and then they're going to pin it on our employer. And the Demers sisters are not going to save our tail. We're middlemen. We're kind of boned. Not in any way, good way, shape, or form.
You backing out of a job, Moon?
I'm not backing out of anything. I'm just going to let you know that we're going to have a lot more eyes on us when we start doing more work.
So we have more eyes on us.
A lot more.
We've got plenty already. In fact, the Circle of Flame already has eyes on you. I don't see this changing a thing.
Well, see, here's the thing. There's a difference between, yes, I'm paying them currently for a debt of the person that they killed that fell onto me. There's a difference between actively stealing children from them. I'm going to end up with an axe in my back. And as much as I really like axes in people's backs today, no. Please, no.
You keep mentioning that. It seems to be a theme with you. Do you really like axes in the back?
No. No, it just keeps happening.
You just said you did. Moon,
Wait,
you don't make a lick
too.
of sense to me.
We were stealing a child.
Where have you been? Where? Literally, where have you been? All day.
With you guys.
What?
Yeah.
I am not trust. There are things that require art and subtlety. You are the last person I'm bringing when I need to do that.
No, I don't do the subtle too well.
No, you don't. If I had brought you along, you would have broken the bazaar somehow.
I do
Literally.
what the boss man says.
Okay, you know what? He's your employer.
I am.
He's your employees guy. I'm doing this job. I'm just letting you know that as much as I like access to the back, I don't.
Hey, these guys have been harassing you. This is your chance to get back.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to disappear in this city than you think. Just a bit harder. It's just
Just a tiny
small
bit.
fraction.
Oh, I know.
I'll do
Okay,
this job.
so you guys have that bits of information. Is there anything else that you want to do? These are essentially flashbacks. I think Muscles has an opportunity to be useful too at some point.
I basically do whatever Speedy tells me to do. So if you want me to go like kick a child or like a dog, you know.
So we've learned like the pattern of the guards and everything, right?
That's correct.
We know
you
when
are
they
aware
switch,
of the
right?
guards.
Like, I'm assuming that we know, like, when we start this job, that it'll be during, like, we can say that we're doing it during the 10-minute time frame where they're switching.
Right, and so again, I mean, the premise of the game is that you are actually starting when you engage. You are actually at the moment where you are about to execute whatever it is that you're about to execute. So you are going to execute based on the knowledge that you have currently, or you will learn in the past through flashbacks.
Okay.
So you would definitely make the decision to take the job and go and do it at that window. So all I need you to do is tell me that that's what you would do.
Okay. That's okay, I understand then.
Sure, I can explain it again.
No, I understand.
Hey boss, you want me to chase that urchin man?
Where have you been? Do you even know where he went?
Where am I?
Oh my god.
I think that urchin's gone at this point, Muscles.
It's been like 3 hours.
You sure? I can move pretty fast.
Are you kidding me? Do you know where he went? No, don't answer that question. Never mind. You will go find him for me.
Stay here.
You want me to go find him?
Well,
All right,
No,
I'll
I
go.
don't want you to go find them.
We will have finished this job. It will be dead in the middle of the night. We will be back at our cabin, and that street urchin will be in our cabin. I just know it.
Oh, it's a friend of yours.
No. I'm done.
Oh, sorry. You know what? Actually, that reminds me. Something that you would find in the packet is a set of criteria about delivering Angelica.
Yes, I need a place.
This is actually important. When you, as per the instructions, when you take her, you must bring her in the same night back to the mansion where you met Rosalind.
All
And the
right.
one other criteria about that is that she must not be seen.
Son of a gun.
All right.
Hey man, I try to make it interesting for you. You know, if I'm not
No,
doing
you
my
are.
job, you just let me know.
All right.
Do we have a little carriage full of goats? What little fortress did we take? Because that would be a good way of.
You're telling me that I'm going to.
I don't think we have a carriage of goats.
Ah, I know we had like some sort of home base. Do we have a boat?
I have a fine
do the
cover
people in the
identity,
bazaar
but
sell
we don't have a
bags?
boat. We have a base. We don't have a boat.
What
not
are the
mobile.
people in the bazaar
I
selling?
think we did choose like a goat base.
A goat base.
Yeah.
Pablo?
Hi.
Muscles, sorry. What are you on about? We don't own goats.
Sazabug gives an inspiration to Muscles with their follow.
I can't wait to.
Why? Why?
Because Muscle is the coolest out of all you. I'm just gonna say that now.
He has so many muscles. Okay, so we can time when the guards are switching. I guess when that happens, we probably want to send in Muscles first.
No.
But well, I guess all sneak in, but send Muscles first.
Alright.
I'm very good at creating a ruckus.
Muscles.
Alright.
Don't create a ruckus yet. We're gonna go quietly,
Oh,
and then
I would like
if
to ask, what are the people in the bazaar selling?
What are the
What
people
kinds
in the
of goods?
bazaar selling?
Yeah, like what were they selling throughout the day? In particular, I'm looking for large burlap sacks, hats, carts, and horses to steal from if they are using them.
you mean goats.
No. No, I don't need a goat.
I can like just
Goats
go
are
take
what
someone's
drive the
cart.
carriages here.
Goats
I can just like go take someone's cart if you need one.
Okay, I'm trying to work this out because what I can either do is just bribe one of the bazaar trade merchants and see if I can borrow their cart for the night, and we can hide her in that, or I can get a burlap sack and carry her in that, or I can give her a hat and that should probably work.
Okay, so here's what's being sold in the market. And I'm going to go over this description again. And you guys are going to see a progress clock on the map as well. And I will tell you what that is as soon as it becomes relevant. Everything is being sold in the market. As I said before, no trade goods, any type of skilled labor, all of it, everything that is quote unquote official or legal can be bought in the market, and a ton of things that are illegal can be bought in the market as well. So if you're looking to trade livestock can be bought there. If you're looking to get a cart or transport or any of that, all of that can be acquired there as well. So I would say that you have carte blanche in that respect. Do whatever you make the deal that you need to make in order to acquire what you need.
All right. I'm thinking, Sky, what if we do a bait and switch?
Do you want to steal another girl and put her in this place?
I mean, it's an option. It's something that I can seriously consider at this point.
How easy do you think it is to kidnap a random girl, Moon? Is this something you have experience with?
No.
You just put a wig on me. I bet they'll buy it.
Muscles.
We need you to come with us, Muscles. We can't just leave you behind. Well, you could probably fend for yourself. Actually, I like this idea.
Alright. I don't like that idea. Not anymore. Some of the things I'm thinking is we need a distraction to get in. And I already assume Muscles would be that distraction. Don't even say it.
I can do that.
What I'm thinking is that we're gonna need something else to get out. Because we can get in no problem with Muscles. Getting out with the girl is going to be an issue. We can either do a cart or a burlap sack, but I think we should hire somebody else, or maybe a few other people to create distractions outside. As this is all happening. Because I'm assuming this is going to be at night.
Everything is night.
Well, so, yeah.
I'm assuming the bazaar has, like, open times and closed times. People actually sleep at normal... Like, I'm assuming that it's just always dark and it's, like, nuclear winter here. Like, people still have sleep schedules, I hope. Maybe?
So there is... Okay, so like I said, there's definitely a schedule that is tracked meticulously to track time. There is definitely an evening. There's definitely, a middle of the night. There's definitely a morning kind of a thing, even though there is no sunlight whatsoever by which to track. So, yes, there is definitely a time when the market shuts down and people go home and spend time with their families, or they go and they do the things that they're supposed to do. So,
I say we just go for it, and if we need to, we flash back.
I'm liking this. Actually.
I vote we go and buy. I vote our plan is we go and buy at least a burlap sack, please. I also vote our plan is that one of us actually takes the child and the other one takes the child, quote unquote, and runs. I think that's a good idea.
I hope the child is already in a burlap sack and we can replace it with a sack of potatoes.
Yes.
I think that's a good idea.
Yes. I like this idea.
Okay.
Brilliant.
I think it's brilliant.
Potatoes now.
All right, I'm gonna just walk up to like any sort of like store or anything, and just like if they have like bags or anything, I'm just gonna start shoving them in and just walk away.
All right, Muscles. Let's see. What are you gonna roll for that? Let's look.
Remember, you have a nat 20 and an inspiration just to use them, or nat
I suggest
6.
that you don't use the nat.
I don't need them.
You don't use those at this point. You're not okay. So that's.
I'm a cutter.
Where is your character? Okay, there you are. Okay.
Rev.
All right, so you could probably use your commanding presence. I would suggest.
I'm gonna take these.
You're gonna do.
Let's go up to the merchant.
What are you taking? Potatoes?
Yeah, just potatoes.
Holy
Giant
cow.
sack of
He's
potatoes.
taking-
He told me to get potatoes. I'm getting potatoes.
A sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
Yep. It's important for any heist.
Okay, so I'm gonna say that it's a controlled situation because it's Muscles, and he's intimidating as hell.
I love the sincerity of the. I actually don't know if this is controlled or not.
Well, it's like so he's a cutter, and he's clearly capable of making something happen very easy. Okay, sure. Controlled. I'm gonna say that it's a standard.
Okay, good.
Does anybody want to offer an assist?
Honestly, no.
I'm gonna go with. I would argue that it's not standard. It is lesser impact. He is stealing a sack of potatoes.
But it's going to have a real effect on your heist, in your snatch and grab here. So I'm okay with limited, but that might change what happens if he fails. So I'm okay with whatever you guys decide. It's on you
Fine,
at this point.
Standard.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, no bonus die, just roll.
Just roll it.
Oh,
You know what?
an inspiration.
Oh,
Muscles.
Muscles!
Stealing a sack.
I do this all the time. I never get any issues.
You tried to steal potatoes and you failed in the worst way.
Muscles, describe to me exactly what you do when you walk up to the potato vendor and grab that bag of potatoes, and I will tell you what happens.
I sort of lumber up. I'm about as tall as that other guy, like the ghost
6'5".
bodyguard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my face is just covered in scars. My hair's like thinning and just gross, and it's like one eye is like higher than the other. I look awful. I'm gonna like walk up and be like, I'm taking these, and just sort of like grab it and walk away.
And just as you grab that, a couple of blue coats are actually wandering through the merchant's
Of
area.
course.
And it's you begin to grab for it, and you're like, I'm taking these. The blue coats, who are 6'2" and 6'4", walk up to you and say, I'd put that back before I wallop you with my stick. And they brandish a huge stick.
Oh, don't worry, I paid for it. Already.
The merchant's like, no, he didn't.
I'm gonna punch the merchant.
I love Muscles.
I swear to God, you
I'm
won't
so
have.
sorry.
Roll me a skirmish. And this is
Controlled.
definitely not going to be a controlled situation. I'm going to say it's risky because it's a bag of potatoes, but I'm willing to be argued that it's desperate.
Okay, so one question. I assume that I didn't I'm not here assisting him. Am I allowed to be in the area and say that I'm willing to help him out if he drops the sack of potatoes and run with it?
If
I'm not dropping the potatoes.
If you show up, or if you're in the area and you show up and you basically try to intervene, he's definitely going to throw that punch. But I'm going to let you make some sort of action roll.
What I'm asking is I would be in the bazaar, right?
Right.
So if I saw him starting this, and the goal was to get the sack of potatoes, and he starts this altercation, can I prowl in, take the potatoes, put them somewhere else, and then we finally succeed with the sack of potatoes? That seems like a good idea. Okay, I just wanted to make sure whether or not how.
Are you going to do that though?
I would love to try as soon as he drops the potatoes.
Okay.
He's gonna throw the punch one way or the other. At this point, I can't wait to see what happens.
So, Muscles,
Hi there.
please hit this particular merchant with, I'm assuming it's going to be a skirmish roll.
Yeah.
Okay.
I swear to God, if you roll a 1, you're the worst bodyguard ever.
You have an advantage and a net.
I mean, I don't think it's that
that
important that I punch this merchant. So effects standard, limited, great. Standard?
So it's risky, and I'm going to say that the advantage is standard, unless somebody can argue why it's great or limited. And I can see arguments in both directions.
I can see why it's limited. Why the heck are you punching?
Yeah, like, the police are already mad at him, so, like, if he fails, like, not much would really happen. Like, they're still mad at him. If he succeeds, they're also still mad at him.
But because it's a situation where it's so incredibly funny, I could see the result being sort of this comic sort of, shenanigans that, distracts the Bluecoats enough that he's able to get away with whatever, as a result happens.
That's fine.
All right.
Okay, let's go standard.
So standard.
Bam!
Nice.
2 fights.
Where was that last one?
Okay. So, Muscles, describe to me what you do the moment that you decide to actually hit the merchant, because you say, I paid for them to the Bluecoats, and immediately from behind you, the merchant says, no, I didn't. What do?
Just straight up, the second he says that, like full on, like follow through, trying to just knock him to the ground. Just like I want him to bounce.
Okay, so as you do, you come around and you basically clock him square in the jaw. And this guy is an incredibly small. I mean, he spent his entire life in the night market. This was his father's business and his grandfather's business. And so he's not, quite a muscular gentleman. He's not of great stock, but he's of decent merchant stock. But when you hit him, he goes flying and his jaw cracks and he goes flying back 5 feet and clips, one of the poles that is the stand. The tent, and it basically drops on you and the Bluecoats, kind of distracting them as it distracts you at the same time, and you're kind of all just kind of struggling to get out.
Where is the sack of potatoes?
And the sack of potatoes has been dropped on the ground and kind of rolls out from the tent.
All right, I'm rolling a finesse to run, grab it, and run out with it.
Okay.
Good work, team.
Okay, we're gonna call that risky.
Yeah, I'm considering that risky.
But the effect is also going to be standard unless anybody can argue otherwise.
I'd say the same.
I mean, the guards can't see it, so who else cares?
Well, right. If he fails, then the guards see him, which could have.
So I can take 2 stress for a bonus die, correct?
Okay, standard works. Go ahead and roll it.
Yep. I was asking. I can take push myself and take 1 extra die, right?
Oh, you sure can, or you can take a devil's bargain. And I'm looking forward to the moment that one of you takes devil's bargain.
I'm taking a devil's bargain on this. I can't wait to see what we end up. Is that 1 extra die, right?
It's 1 extra die. You don't take any stress, but the result can have an effect either now or later.
Well, I rolled a 2 and a 3, so here we go.
Wow.
And no one else sees their crits.
I have a crit. I don't want to use. Nope, I refuse to use a crit on this. I'm stealing a sack of potatoes, people.
The tent falls, and Muscles is trapped under the tent with the 2 Bluecoats. The sack of potatoes begins to roll out. Describe to me how Moon grabs those potatoes.
So, I was already looking out, and I had at the corner of my eye. I'm watching Muscles do this, and I watch him throw the punch, and I'm assuming that's the call for I'm distracting people. Please take the sack of potatoes. So I start heading over there in a quick pace, and as everybody's watching the scuffle happens, I quickly reach down and I quietly just pick up the sack of potatoes and start to walk off.
As you swipe the bag of potatoes and begin to make your move, you notice that 2 more Bluecoats have taken an interest in what's going on, are moving forward towards you, about to engage. I'm going to give you an opportunity to take an action before they actually just grab you and take you off to the stockade.
Can I try and use Prowl to start zipping in between the bizarre places and stuff?
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to consider that a risk. Honestly, risky or desperate? I'm going to go with a desperate. That sounds correct, right?
I think it's incredibly desperate. Absolutely.
We want to do standard. Great. Honestly, standard seems like the.
Yeah, it seems to be the kind of thing where the benefit is not so much that it's going to change the game, but yeah. Standard makes sense.
I don't need any bonus die. This will already be as chaotic as usual. All right, 2-2. We're going places, folks.
Who needs to succeed on anything? Who needs those crits that we were given?
As you were starting to move your way through the bits, and you essentially evade the first two blue coats, you feel a hand grab you on the back of your neck at your collar and kind of pull you up and say, potatoes are not your thing, my friend. And it's another blue coat basically just kind of grabbing you. Now, Muscles hears all of this happening and, is able to extract himself from the tent after a couple of seconds. And what you see is two blue coats continuing to approach you and another blue coat grabbing Moon. What does Muscles want to do? And God. I have to ask this question: where is Sky in all of this?
Oh, don't worry.
Sky is watching from a distance.
Oh, don't worry. I had a great idea.
By the way, I'm gonna. But Muscles has this part of like a pipe he just tore off at some random point, like because I've got a fine heavy weapon.
Okay.
He's just gonna pull that off, and he's just gonna try and whack one guard with the 6 crit that person did.
Wait, are you
whack
hitting
that one person
me?
just like into the other, like baseball style, like with the giant pipe.
Wait, so which two are you taking out?
The 2 guards that are approaching me in front of me.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Moon, were you going to say something before we get into this?
I was going to ask who he's hitting, so you did my job, or I did your job for you.
Okay, so with that crit, this is the beauty of crits and this is the beauty of combat, essentially in Blades. What happens is I don't actually roll anything. I just narrate what happens, and you guys actually describe to me and make changes to the situation. So as they're about to come at you, you take your pipe as you're coming out of the tent, and you just knock one of them across the head. And you hit him so hard, he just knocks heads with the other guy, and they both just fall domino style to the ground. And the guard that's grabbing the blue coat that's grabbing Moon just kind of looks over and goes, "What?" Giving Moon just an opportunity to do something.
All right. Well, on my repertoire of things to do while being held by a blue coat, it's pretty limited.
Well, you could try to escape, or you could take him on while he's distracted, kind of a thing. So.
Yeah, my ability to actually hurt people is like 3 out of like 100. We're gonna study him. No, just kidding. This is where I'd say I'm rolling a perception check while I'm being attacked.
Sky can jump in and help at this point.
Well, what I was gonna do is I was gonna roll a finesse to see if I can finagle my way out of his grip.
If you want to try and do that first, you can.
I'm always okay for doing that. I'm rolling a desperate. It's going to be limited, probably. An outcome, considering I'm being chained or I'm being held.
I would call it standard, at least.
I would definitely call it standard because you're not. I mean, it's not like you're just trying to escape. You're trying to escape his grip. You're trying to escape his grip and get away with a bag of potatoes. And I definitely think it's desperate.
All right, I'm rolling it.
Oh! Rolls are great tonight.
I think roll 20 hates me. This happened.
Well,
this is a thing.
Sorry, guys, I'm losing control of my. Oh, wait a minute. There's something wrong with that one. Don't you have like a 2 in finesse?
I have 1 in finesse.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at the prop. You're absolutely right. Okay, so yet again. This is where, failing forward, kind of a situation. You're trying to struggle out of, the grip of the blue coat. And he described to me the size of Moon. Like how big? I mean, because Muscles is clearly a big guy, and I think Sky was described as
the opposite.
The opposite of Moon or Muscles. What is Moon? As a lurk.
I'm probably somewhere on the shorter side, but I'm very lithe, and I'm not exactly the kind of person who would be like making an impact when they walk into the room. It's much more about I'm sitting on the side I'm still making an impact if I'm standing there watching, but it's more about like how I'm looking at you. My bark is worse than my bite.
Okay. So as you're kind of struggling to get away, the blue coat is looking going, what? And then kind of goes, oh no, you don't, and grabs back to you again and kind of yanks you this way. But as he's kind of yanking it this way, he's kind of set himself off balance a little bit and just kind of trying to wrestle control, because you're attempting to escape a couple of different ways, providing an opportunity for both Muscles and Sky, if he wants to kind of insert yourself and take care of this situation. What do you guys want to do?
So, one of the things in my inventory is a fine cover identity.
Are you gonna? Okay, this will be fun.
Can I use that to say that I'm a member of? I don't know if these are like possibly higher up than the Bluecoats, but the Inspectors, or what faction or institution might be higher up than the Bluecoats?
So looking at the factions that are available, I would say the Imperial Military.
Okay.
There is also the City Council.
You should totally be City Council. Act like a
That
counselor and be like, folks, what is wrong here? Can we talk this out? Can we use civil heads? And then it's just like chaos.
So there is definitely the Imperial Military, the City Council, and then those would be the two that I would suggest that you would use. And depending upon which one you choose, because both of those factions have a different level of essentially a different rank in their influence. Mm-hmm. So depending on which one you choose will affect how you are. I'm going to have you roll for this, because it's definitely a roll but you're going to get you're going to get some advantage because of the documentation that you have.
Sky, you know what you should do? Mm-hmm. You should roll to be a council member. Say, I know this man. There's no way he could have stolen anything. And then just get both of us out.
I like that.
There's no way they could have stolen anything. You guys are crazy.
No, yeah, that's more or less what Sky is going to do. He's going to walk up to these Bluecoats and say, that won't be necessary, boys. City Council. I'll hold up a City Councilor's badge, which I assume they have.
They have papers or documentation that basically illustrates who they are. Okay, so how are you going to roll this?
So I want to kind of, what I want to say to them is, you don't want to take these boys in just for stealing a sack of potatoes.
Okay.
They're a bit important to the city council. Call them friends of the family, if you will.
Okay.
You put those boys in jail, you'll see your job's gone in an instant.
All right, I want you to roll me a consort.
Good, that's what I was going for.
The fine cover identity is going to give you an additional D6, and I'm going to give you an additional D6 for the story that you just told.
Awesome. Okay, so risky.
I'm going to say that this is desperate.
Right. Effect?
Honestly,
I'm going to say that it's standard because, it seems like the kind of thing where it's very clearly this is what you want. The result is significant but not game changing.
All right, and so you said I got one for the documents and one for the story.
That is correct.
I'm just gonna push myself.
Honestly, at this point, we need to get out of this mess.
So that's another 2.
That's another 2 stress, and that's another 1 die.
Okay, 2 stress, 1 die. Got it. Okay.
Yep.
6. Okay, thank God.
Oh shit. Okay, so it's great how you rolled that, because between the two die that you took from pushing yourself and from the identity and the additional die that I gave you, that clearly sold the whole crit that you just did. And so as you communicate this to the blue coat, he looks at your documentation and goes, and he puts his arms down and immediately drops Moon, and Moon hits the ground, and takes 1 stress, because that's part of what happened from the Devil's Bargain, is he took a little bit of damage from this. So he takes 1 stress from being dropped immediately to the ground with a pack of, because he falls onto the pack or to the bushel of, or the bag of potatoes.
I felt like a sack of potatoes.
Exactly. So, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, counselor. I did not realize." And he's get moving, and it's clearly a sergeant in the blue coats, and he starts to immediately kind of wrangle the 4 individuals that were, the guard that were basically trying to encapsulate this situation. He's like, he keeps bowing to you, and he says, I'm sorry, counselor. We will make sure that this doesn't happen again. I apologize for any action that we took." And he's just, and immediately they all disappear. And the interesting thing about it is that because of your crit and because of how you portrayed it, there are no more blue coats in the night market area, around the bazaar, around the building. So you have essentially cleared the city guard.
Well, that's convenient. Thanks, Muscles.
What are you thinking Muscles for?
Starting that whole commotion.
Muscles did nothing.
Control.
Muscles, because Muscles failed to steal potatoes, failed to punch a guy.
Muscles is Chat's hero. I got to tell you guys, Muscles is Chat's hero. At least a couple of them.
Sky does all the work and Muscles gets all the credit. I see how it is.
No. I will say it now because I'm pretty sure it will be amusing. But my plan was to take the sack of potatoes, and then when they saw me, sneak out and just hand you the sack of potatoes and say, "Hold this," and then just go back to what I was doing, so that when the blue coat showed up, you'd just be stuck with the sack of potatoes and people still clueless.
Remember when we were trying to steal a girl? Remember when that was our quest?
I don't know.
We got really derailed with this whole potato thing. All right, let's go. Let's go back to the warehouse, guys.
I assume we have a burlap sack too. Do I have to go buy that?
Need anything else from the market?
No, I'll go get it. You shut your mouth.
You sure?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
I think I have that situation under control.
Just eat a
under
potato,
control,
Muscles.
my ass.
I like potatoes.
Oh, God. You are a potato.
Okay, so as a result of all of these actions related to the potato incident, you have now essentially acquired a burlap sack of potatoes, which is a 50-pound bag of potatoes.
Can I have a regular burlap sack too, or is this not going to be something am I going to have to go?
You are going to be able to acquire an additional sack, or in the burlap sack of potatoes, or a lack of potatoes. It's essentially the same burlap sack, but without the potatoes. And you have also, thanks to Muscles and a little bit of help from Sky, you have made all of the blue coats in the area of the market just disappear.
That's great.
No, so Sky did a phenomenal job. You guys have acquired a bag of potatoes. You guys have acquired another sack. Both are burlap, and you have cleared the market of any law enforcement.
Oh, I can lower my
yeah,
camera.
I was gonna say, Moon. Yeah, we can see.
I'm
this
slowly
much of you.
regressing into the depths of what I just witnessed.
Tilt your camera down a little bit.
You're down. It should be fine now.
Yeah.
I think we're about ready for tomorrow.
No, you mean today.
What are days here, anyways?
Daytime it's all kind of fluid.
It's all night. Anyways, let's go to the thing, and we're gonna bring these potatoes.
We're going there now?
Muscles. We're gonna go in there, and all you're gonna do, you're gonna carry the sack of potatoes in, and if they ask you any questions, you're gonna be like, I don't know, I'm just here to deliver some potatoes.
All right, so I have one
Understood,
question.
boss.
One of my questions is, how hard is it to reach the second story window? like, it's obviously second story. I understand that much. I was just asking, how difficult is it for me, like, say I wanted to climb up there while the sack of potatoes incident is now while he walks in with the sack of potatoes.
Okay, so when you look at the backside of the building, you notice that there are no easy perches related to between the first floor and the second floor. There's nothing that really kind of makes it kind of easy for you to just scale the building either via like a parkour or even like a bouldering kind of a climb kind of a thing. It's not an easy thing for you to do. The second story window is basically this just kind of perch that's about halfway on the second story. So it's about 16 feet up.
Okay.
And so you would either need a boost of some kind and jump still, or you would need to jump to it from an adjacent building. And the buildings are probably somewhere between 5 to 10 feet, distant, depending upon, how you approached it. But yeah,
Okay.
otherwise it would be a hard climb to get to. It would be incredibly difficult.
I could probably throw you up there.
Honestly,
so I wanted to point out to you guys, looking at the progress clock that's on screen, the guards. This progress clock specifically indicates the alert status of the guards around the warehouse. Now, the guards took some notice of the incident that was happening inside of the marketplace, inside the bazaar. So they're a little bit more on alert than before. They're not aware of what you guys are doing, but they're uneasy. So that's the way that progress clocks work, is they track a particular state until that state is complete, and then the result is shenanigans and trouble.
I can put myself in those quite easily.
Okay, so guards are generally aware that something's going on. What are you guys doing?
I think the Muscles potato delivery plan is the best one we have.
I do.
As it is the only plan that any of us have said so far.
Okay, I was debating flashbacking and consorting one of the merchants to store a bunch of boxes and stuff near the second floor window so that I could climb up and perch up. But I'm much more okay with trying to sneak in as he's delivering the potatoes and trying to get in that way. I think that's a bit more fun.
Boss, I have a plan.
Oh no, you don't have a plan. Also, I'm not your boss.
No Muscles.
Not
No.
you, Moon. I walk in and I hit things.
No. You walk in with the potatoes.
And hit them with the potatoes.
Not yet.
No. Yes, eventually, but no, not immediately.
You're no fun.
Here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna walk in with the potatoes. You see the girl, okay? If
Hit
the
her
girl
with the
has a sack
potatoes.
on her like the potatoes, you put the potatoes down next to her, you leave with the girl. No
How
one
about we
lot
do
of
this?
words.
No. How about we do this? How about you go in with the sack of potatoes? I'll go in with the bag. I'll make sure I get the girl. We don't have to worry about Muscles doing too many things at once that he can't handle. We'll keep it simple. Muscles, act like you're delivering potatoes. And if they start getting a little too pushy about why you have potatoes, you can give them the potatoes. Is that okay? Does that sound like a plan, Sky?
I'm not very smart, so whatever you think's
well
best.
aware. Thank you. I noticed.
I like it.
I like the fact
Potatoes.
that you're self-aware. Now do something about it.
Operation Spuds of Night is a go.
Is this what you're calling it?
Hey, boss.
Should we change the name of the show? It's just Spuds of Night.
Hey,
Yes.
boss, since when were you on the council?
Where have you been?
You know what the council is?
It's a good point. It is a fantastic.
Oh, you just say you were on the council. I mean, I'm with you like all the time. Oh, you have time for this.
All right. With the interest of actually executing on this snatch and grab job, there is a entrance to the front that basically it faces the bazaar. There is also an entrance to the back that is actually near the window, but on the other side. So the window is on one side of the building. On the left side of the building, the actual door is on the right side of the building. Otherwise, there is quite a large door that essentially slides open and close, and it's essentially where cargo is loaded into the warehouse and out of the warehouse. And that is also on the front of the building. But that is definitely not easy. Cargo. Absolutely.
Potatoes are cargo. From what I know of potatoes.
Is that where Muscles is going to deliver
you should knock on the door.
Of potatoes?
You should knock on the cargo door and say, I've got potatoes for delivery.
Whatever you need.
This is going to go great. Can't wait
for
this.
You want me to do it? I'll do it.
Muscles, you're going to distract them. Moon, you're going to go around...
I'm going to go sneak in with the bag and make sure I can get to the top
around the outside.
Floor.
And,
all right.
I'll be around.
So Moon is going to the back door? Is that what I'm hearing?
My goal is just to sneak in when Muscles makes a lot of noise, and like when Muscles gets in and confuses people. My goal is to sneak in. First floor. I'm going to try and sneak through the warehouse up to the second floor using the stairs.
Okay, so you're entering the same entrance as Muscles?
No, not the same entrance. I'd be using the back entrance, yes.
Okay.
All right, Muscles. How do you do this?
So is there like a station for cargo delivery, or is it just like you go up to the back door?
There's the front face. Sorry guys, the sun is really just kind of shining on me right now. The front face of the building there's essentially a door in the lower left side, and there's this big cargo, door in the center where you would assume, unless you're Muscles who may not really understand this, that this is where transports come in, carts with cargo laden on them, or however cargo is delivered comes into this bigger entrance. But those doors are clearly shut. They're like barn doors almost. So
I'll just walk up to those.
Okay.
If there's any guards.
And so there's actually nobody on the outside. Those doors are actually closed, and the door that's off to the right, off to the left, is also closed.
Well, if the door's not open, I'll just start banging on it.
Which door? The big door or the little door?
The big door.
So you start banging on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. After about a minute of banging, you're getting a little tired. Your hands, because you're hitting this big wooden door, your hands getting a little tired, and you hear what's going on? Why is somebody? And you hear the latches behind this door are just kind of being undone one at a time, and it's all these big sounding metal grinding kind of things. And then the door slides open about a foot, and you see this guy stick his head out, and he's as butt ugly as Muscles. Muscles feels at home with this butt ugly individual. And this guy sticks his head out and says, "What do you want?"
Potatoes.
Wait. All right.
What? Potatoes? We don't need no potatoes.
I was told to deliver them. I'm not leaving without delivering these potatoes.
Who told you to deliver potatoes?
I don't know.
But hold on a second. Closes the door.
No, if he starts closing the door, I'm putting my foot in.
As he's trying to close the door, he's like, "Hey, move your foot. Potato. No, I gotta talk about potatoes. Move your foot. I can't do this."
They're really gonna get these.
No, he opens the board back up. He's like, "I don't know about potato. I gotta talk to boss." What do you mean?
Can I talk to boss with you? I mean,
he looks around. He's like, "What do you think?" Huh? Okay. Opens the door up enough for you to walk inside.
He's also very dumb. Great. Perfect.
And so as you walk inside,
the
candlelight or the torchlight that's all around kind of dimly lit this. this warehouse where there are cargo containers all over the place, and you can kind of see them stacked in 2s and 3s, and they're almost stacking all the way to the ceiling. But as you look at the far side, all the way in the back, there is this stairway that's leading up to essentially a second story, and in that second story in the back, you can see a window that's kind of looking out towards onto the warehouse proper. And the guy kind of closes the door and says, "Oh, you gotta wait here. I'll be right back. Don't move." And he turns and he starts to walk away.
Is there anyone else here?
There's another guy there, and he's kind of looking at you, but he's clearly as dumb as the first guy. So he's just kind of staring at you like, with a very slack face.
He definitely said to follow, right? I don't think I heard him.
I don't know. What did he say?
He said I should follow him. So I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna.
Muscles is actually showing a little bit of smarts here. This is crazy. So the second guy looks around and goes, shrugs his shoulders. He's like, "Okay, he went that way." And he points you down towards there's like this center row, or like the center empty space of like where all these cargo containers are, and like you can walk all the way towards the back. So what are you doing?
This way?
Yeah, that way. And he just turns away from you and goes about to going back to doing whatever he was doing beforehand.
I'm just gonna walk up the stairs.
Wait. Am I allowed to prowl my way in here?
So we're gonna cut to Moon. Moon, what are you doing?
So during all of this, as I hear him banging on the door, I'm sneaking around to the back door, which I assume is closer to the stairs, probably.
Oh yeah, it's definitely closer to where the second floor is. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm trying to sneak my way around, and so that door's closed, but as I hear all the heavy banging, I'm going to try and prowl my way and carefully open the door. Quietly open the door is the better term.
Okay.
So I do have a set of lockpicks. I also have a cloak, and I can see in the dark. Thanks to my dark sight goggles.
Okay. So, with that in mind, what skill are you going to roll, or what action are you going to take in order to do this?
So, to open the door, I should probably roll finesse, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to roll prowl because it makes more sense to be quieter rather than actually get the door open. So,
okay. Sure. Go ahead and roll that.
So, it's going to be a controlled...
I'm going to say it's risky because you don't know what's behind that door.
Alrighty then.
But it's not desperate because you're not in a situation where it's life or death. I am going to say, though, that it is of greater effect because you don't know what's behind the door.
All right. And I'm going to push myself and take an extra die on that. Because, yeah.
That works for me?
I would like to get through this door. All right. Boop.
And you do.
Alrighty then.
All right. So describe to me how Moon lockpicks this door.
Have you played Skyrim?
Yeah.
I twist one thumbstick and then I twist no.
So wait a minute, you were talking about Fallout, right? It was Fallout that you were talking about, not Skyrim, right?
Skyrim does that too, I believe. You do it in Skyrim.
It's the exact same thing. I'm just giving you a hard time. It's a terrible mechanic.
One uses a bobby pin. Excuse you.
One's a bobby pin. Yeah. So my fine lockpick is actually just a safety pin I picked up off the ground. So I just start fiddling with it into the door lock, and I start playing with the handle a bit. And I'm very quiet about pushing the door handle because I don't want to make too much of a ruckus banging the door to try and get it open. But I very slightly play with it until I hear it click. And then I lose the safety pin because I'm really actually bad at lock picking doors. I always break the lock every time I do. It's really unfortunate. So I hear it click, and then I slowly take the handle down, and I slowly try and open the door. And I take a quick peek. I open it maybe like fraction of an inch or something, or like an inch and a half or something.
Okay, you succeeded though.
Yeah.
So you succeeded with a 6, which means it's a success.
Yes.
This is the first time, and the effect is so great, this is the first time that you actually don't break your safety pin or the lock. And you're like, inside, you're like, yes,
success. I do a little fist pump as I open the door.
Right, exactly. And so
proud.
as you turn the knob, it just sort of pops open, and you hear the door make a little bit of noise, but it's not enough to attract attention. And as the door opens, you find that the doorway is actually situated under the second story and actually near under the staircase as well. So you were perfectly shadowed in this backdoor entrance. And what's interesting is that you can see somebody that's actually walking towards the walking towards you can see walking towards the front as you see Muscles walking back, down towards you, in that direction, but he can't see you. So you've successfully entered the building and you are completely hidden at this point.
All right. So I'm assuming as Muscles starts walking towards the stairs, I'm going to whisper out to him and be like, Muscles, what are you doing?
I don't notice.
Holy cow!
So while this is happening,
obviously.
I'm gonna cut for a second. We're gonna do a hard cut, and we're gonna say, where the hell is Sky? What is Sky doing?
Sky is he's kind of casing the outdoors, kind of looking back at that vantage point to get a good look. And he has his pistol trained on the exits, just kind of like flipping between them to see if anyone goes out. He's ready.
Can you see through the window?
Sure.
Like, can you see through the back window? I don't know. It was a general question.
Depending upon his position, if he's up on a building, then sure, he could absolutely see what's going on in the back.
You'll
window.
want to survey what's inside the actual, like, right there.
Well, you guys could do a flashback to that and actually see what's going on in there as well. But that, since the action has already started in the actual score, this is when it would start to cost you 2 straight.
I'll do it.
Okay. What are you doing?
2 straight.
All right. So describe to me what you're doing in respect to the surveying as a flashback.
So I'm getting up on top of a building and basically pulling out. I don't have any binoculars on me, I suppose. But just trying to get a good look at what's going on inside the window.
Is that it? I'm just gonna look at the window.
Well, let's see what I see before I say I do anything else.
Okay, so we're going to call this inclusive. Whatever you describe after I describe what you see, we're going to we'll call that just as a part of the flashback. So as you begin observing, through the window, you at first just see lots of shadows, and there is some candlelight, kind of shimmering as the kind of the backdrop of producing the shadows, and you're seeing a couple of figures moving back and forth across the window. At some point, somebody comes up and just kind of cleans the window a little bit to kind of look out. And when they look outside, you see that it's a young girl kind of looking out in that, your general direction, but she doesn't see you because there's a cloudiness to it, to the film that's on the window. But as she's looking out, you see that there are 2 guards and they're kind of just, for lack of a better word, loitering in the room.
Okay, so I would have relayed that information to them as they go inside. I also, I would like to kind of perch myself there, and I don't have like a rifle, but I will have my pistol trained on the guards in there in case of an emergency.
Okay. You said you have a pistol that you would have trained on them?
Yeah.
Okay, so with that in mind, if you decide to take a shot, because you're focused on what's going on in that room and you're spending the time to take, if you take a shot, you'll get an additional die specifically for that because you're taking, it's like taking 10 in D&D kind of a thing.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna flash over to Muscles. Muscles, you were walking up towards the back stairs, and there's what appears to be another individual that's kind of walking towards you. You don't see the dumb individual that you were interacting with, because he just took a left or took a right. Once he got to the end of the aisle.
I was gonna sort of walk up the stairs, I guess.
You don't even hear me, do you?
Nope.
Well, so as you walk up, there's this guy kind of walks up to you and says, "Hey, what are you doing? What's going on here? Where'd you come from?
Oh,
What's that sack of potatoes for?
Yeah.
What?
I was supposed
Potatoes?
Apparently I was supposed to... I'm sorry. Supposed to, like, give it to some girl or something. I don't know.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Girl's upstairs. You might want to go give the potatoes to the girl."
Oh, thanks. I will keep walking.
And he just keeps walking forward as you're walking back. And you hear this whispering. Now, Moon, what exactly do you say to Muscles as he's beginning to climb this?
Muscles, what are you doing? Muscles, what are you doing?
God?
Does Muscles hear?
I'm gonna end you if you don't.
How do you react to hearing this voice?
On that prowl, okay?
I am one with the under the stairwell.
I'm just, like, looking around everywhere, like...
Oh my god, now you look like you're in that.
Like, I'll just shrug and keep walking.
Okay, so Muscles continues to walk to the top of the
I'm
stairs. We're going to cut to Moon. Moon, he's clearly not listening to you. What are you going to do?
All right, I go to immediate plan B, which is position myself near some. I'm assuming you said that the crates are stacked up really high and stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to position myself hiding in the shadows of one of the large towers of crates, but I'm going to be ready to push it over because I know where this is going.
Okay.
But just a quick question: is there enough crates? Are the crates high enough to reach the second story?
Yes. Okay. So the crates are probably, I would say they're 5 foot by 5 foot by 5 foot, and they can stack at least 3 high before there's a problem with clearance on the ceiling.
Okay.
So there are definitely stacks of 2s and 3s kind of around you that are stacked in a way. And if you look up at the top of the building, there's like a winch and a levee system that is able to move and kind of stack these things as well.
Okay, so there's like some form of like crane of sorts in order to
yes,
do that.
exactly. It's not a crane in the normal sense. It's a bunch of levers and a bunch of counterbalances kind of a thing. It's not a straight up crane though. It's definitely a system that has that, there's a series of counterbalances and ropes and everywhere. So it's a complex Rube Goldberg kind of a system.
Can I study it?
Yes, you can study it if you'd like. Please go ahead and roll that. I'm very curious.
I want
and
you
we're
to
going to call it. We're going to call it a controlled, and the effect is definitely going to be standard.
All right.
Standard.
We're not gonna. All right, I rolled a 4.
Okay, as
Could
you're
be
kind
worse.
of studying it, you realize that while it is a normal piece that you would expect in a reasonably established warehouse, somebody who's a definite merchant deals with these types of crates all the time, it's in disrepair. There's clearly something wrong with it, and so anytime that you are actually interacting with it, it will require at least a risky or even desperate situation.
Okay.
If you were to interact with it, you realize that you're taking your life in your own hands if you decide to do that.
Yeah, I'm not interacting with that.
Come on, it's cool.
It's like a roller
What I'm
coaster.
going to do is I'm going to use one of my throwing knives to barely cut at the rope. That is I'm assuming it has a main rope.
Yes.
I'm gonna fray the rope a decent amount in the case as a prep, just in case to see if in case everything does go south. I can just drop all the counterbalances and cause a ton of chaos within the factory or within the warehouse. So do I need to roll anything for that, or are we going to assume that my ability to use a knife
Oh,
is
you're
not...
muted.
You muted.
Oh,
Sorry,
am I
you're
muted?
going to be able to do that without a roll. You're fine. You're absolutely fine.
Okay, so I'm going to fray the rope, and then I'm going to position myself hiding under the boxes near the stair, near the second floor, in a way such that I can climb up there pretty quickly.
You're really
And I
good at
do
this
have-
distraction stuff. Why didn't you do this?
No, you are
Muscles
the
is
distraction.
doing great.
You don't understand your role in this, Muscles. You will be the distraction.
I'm apparently delivering potatoes.
Yes, deliver the potatoes more. So that's pretty much... Yeah.
So
Operations.
Muscles has made his way up to the top of the stairs. And because of this, every other guard in the warehouse is completely aware of him. So you'll notice that the progress clock has progressed to 50%. So there's definitely some, awareness of what's going on. And Muscles, you get to the top of the door, you get to the top of the stairway, and the door is closed. What are you doing?
I'll just open it.
You open it, and immediately two, big burly guys kind of look up and go, "Hey, what's going on? Who are you? Why do you have a sack of potatoes?"
Supposed to deliver some potatoes to some girl.
Potato girl, she's asleep. She doesn't need potatoes. What are you doing?
Well, I know she was asleep.
Well, she's obviously asleep. No, you need to get out of here right now. Who let you in here? And they start to move towards you to push you out.
No,
And
I gotta deliver these potatoes.
What Sky sees from the window is Sky sees the two guards kind of get excited and move off towards the left.
Fire.
And they disappear from the window. They disappear from the window.
Wait, did you just say fire?
Do you fire at them?
We're gonna fire him.
Oh, shit. All right. Okay, so you're taking aim. You're firing. You're firing at you. You can clearly see from what Angelica did, where she kind of wiped it up a little bit, and with the flickering light, you can see in there, and you can take a shot. Who are you trying to hit? Are you trying to hit the first one, the second one? Are you trying to create a distraction? I mean, what is your intent by firing your gun in there?
I am trying to kill one of them. The first one, let's say.
Okay. Now, in doing that, you've taken plenty of time, so you get an additional die regardless.
Mm-hmm.
This, to me, seems like a risky situation, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't say.
So, looking at Sky's character sheet, you don't have anything in finesse.
Anything about fighting.
So you're going to be rolling a prowess. Now, here's the interesting thing about this. When you have 0 action ratings in any of the skills, or you have a 0 action rating in the parent skill, which is in this case is going to be prowess, you actually roll something and you take the lesser of 2 rolls.
Ooh.
So to me, it seems like what you want to do is you probably want to take a different action or take a different approach to this, because you're clearly going to adversely affect the situation in a way that's going to be catastrophic.
You're right.
And
He is.
and I typically would say go ahead and do it, but it's 9:40 your time. So in order for us to kind of move along a little bit, you probably want to do something that's going to have a lot more meaningful impact.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. Sky's not really a fighter.
Honestly, just go
Sky
knock on the
will,
door.
seeing this, probably instead rush down from where he is and kind of go in the back door, the same one that Moon snuck in, and try to run up after them.
Okay. So Sky is able to do that, and I'm not going to have you roll for that. Muscles is facing down 2 burly-looking individuals as they're trying to push him out of the room. What does Muscles do?
I mean, I could just leave the potatoes with the girl and, You can just have them.
Muscles.
We don't need any potatoes, and they're starting to kind of push you towards you to
Hey
kind of
man,
get you to go
back
down the
off.
stairs.
We'll
Put
just
explosives
it's
in
not a
the
big
potatoes.
deal.
Should have put. You're right. You should have put explosives on the potatoes. So they're kind of pushing you, and you're like, they're clearly trying to move you down the stairs.
Should just grab one and throw them down the
Well,
stairs.
I don't know, man.
So what is Sky gonna? Or sorry, what is Muscles gonna do?
Can I like wait to like talk to someone or something? I mean,
You're not supposed to be here. They yell, and they're just
let in.
they're just starting to they're trying to get you to go down the stairs. They're starting to push you down, and you're starting to to kind of teeter a little bit
All right.
in your balance.
Nobody pushes muscles around. Gonna chop the potatoes.
Okay.
Grab my big old pipe and just do a little you know
Do a
what?
little dance.
Do a little dance. Make a little love. Get down tonight.
Before
Okay.
he does that,
All right, Muscles.
I'm
So
sorry.
I assume
It's all
that
I
you're
know
going
how
to
to
use.
do.
I'm assuming you're going to use skirmish.
Yeah. Since I have a fine heavy weapon, do I get an extra dice for that, or I'm not sure
I'm
how
going to
it
say
works.
that you absolutely get an extra dice for that fine heavy weapon.
Okay. So it's risky, desperate. I'm not really sure how to.
I'm gonna take a stress, and I'm gonna assist him by finishing fraying that wire so that all of the counterweights and stuff fall and create a giant mess inside the warehouse.
I'm also going to take a
distraction.
stress to. I'm going to push myself just to get an extra dice too.
Okay, so Moon, are you doing the distraction to assist him or to distract the guards?
It would be an assist to him.
Okay, excellent, great. So you take the one stress, you get muscles, you get an additional die. Plus, you take an additional die for your 2 stress. Plus, you get the 1 die specifically. So you're taking 3 additional die at the end of the day. So go ahead and roll that.
So it's risky or desperate, or I'm not sure on that.
I think it's going to be risky. I don't think it's going to be desperate because Muscles is a big guy, but I think it's going to have greater effect.
Okay. Great. And then 3 bonus die, and here we go. Oh, man.
You rolled a 5, good enough for me.
That's good enough. Although, so you take a swing as they're trying to push you down. You just drop the sack of potatoes. You grab your pipe. Now describe to me how you hit them. You're at the top of the stairs. They're trying to push you down, but you successfully got a hit on them. And there are 2 big burly guys in this doorway trying to get you. So describe to me what happens.
You know in like theater when you have like a cane that pulls somebody off like the stage, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be sort of like that. I'm going to wrap it around one of their necks and just try and like yank them down the stairs.
Okay. So, and you do that. You grab him, you basically kind of hook him in a way.
Bash it into the handrail and then just throw him down if I can.
And you pull him down and he begins to move. And the second guy was clearly kind of, wedged in with him as this happened. And he just kind of basically loses his balance and starts to fall to the ground as the other guy just kind of goes over the railing of the stairway and falls basically down to the ground and breaks his neck.
Oh, lovely.
But in doing that, you kind of the second guy kind of falls and kind of hits, knocks you on your leg a little bit, and so you fall on top of him. And so you both are now kind of prone on the ground with you on top of the second guy. And this big distraction happens off in the background that Moon created.
Good.
So as this is happening, Sky kind of comes around the bottom of the stairway as the guy just kind of falls down to the ground and breaks his neck. And Sky, what you see Moon or see Muscles on top of a second burly guard type guy. What are you going to do?
Do they seem pretty much restrained by Muscles, or like?
So the first one is definitely dead because he fell and broke his neck after Muscles hooked him. The second one is definitely prone because Muscles is laying on top of him. He tripped as the action happened, and the guy hit him, and he basically fell on top of him.
Guy's going to walk past them up the stairs and into the room they came from.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, so you step over Muscles, and you step over the second guy who is starting to kind of stir a little bit and struggle, with Muscles just kind of laying on top of him and waving at you. And you walk into the room, and it's a pretty nondescript room otherwise, that you kind of sort of were able to see in, but you only saw a desk with a candle that was kind of lit on the desk. But off in the corner, you see Angelica, the young girl, sort of laying off on a cot onto the side, and she's clearly passed out.
I'm going to walk up to her and just sort of gently touch her shoulder and be like, "Wake up, girl. We're here to help you."
As you begin to kind of shake her and stir her a little bit, the guard that's under Muscles looks over and says, "No, don't do that. Don't wake her up." Yeah. And then Muscles punches him and knocks him out. And as you begin to try to shake the girl and stir her a little bit, she's groggy, and it's clear that she's been drugged in some way, that they're keeping her sedated. But she's starting to stir a little bit.
Why are they keeping you drugged, girl?
As this is going on, I'm gonna walk up and give her the potatoes.
You're gonna do what?
I'm gonna walk up and give her the potatoes. I'm supposed to deliver potatoes.
Right.
Here's your potatoes.
So I'm assuming there's one more guard left because you've only killed 2. There's one more guard sitting downstairs.
Well, so there are a couple of guards slowly making their way towards this direction. And I want you guys to notice that I changed the progress clock. I was actually going to add a different one, but it makes more sense to do this. I've changed the progress clock to the awareness of Angelica. If she gets fully awake, something will happen as a progress. Just FYI.
Okay.
There are 2 other guards, essentially the 2 dumb guards that were down there, kind of on the lower area that Muscles had interacted with, and they're both starting to rush, in the general direction after they heard the commotion and the ruckus that both Moon and Muscles caused at this point.
Right. I'm gonna brandish a throwing knife. I'm gonna chuck it at one of them.
Okay.
So I'm gonna roll a finesse for that to see. I assume this is risky.
It is going to be definitely risky, but it is going to have a greater effect. So it's going to be risky. Right. Great.
I'm not going to roll any bonus die just because this is how I live. I rolled a 4.
Okay, so your dagger kind of. So you're on essentially like the second or the third story, is my understanding, right? You're kind of high up.
I was thinking of climbing up. I was positioned ready, but I'm basically under the stairwell, hiding. I'm in that the darkness of under the stairwell nearby. Okay. And as I see them rushing towards the stairwell, I throw my knife through one of the, not necessarily one of the slits, but like there is some opening space between the crates and the stairwell, and I try and hit one of the guards running towards Muscles.
Okay, so the dagger flies and nails the first one in the chest, and it digs in deep enough that it actually drops him. So it just kind of just goes, and he just drops, and he drops forward, and the dagger clearly disappears into his chest because he's dropped forward on him, and he's an incredibly big guy. But the second one that was running behind him realizes what happens as he saw it, and he immediately starts to move towards you, and it's clear that he's heading in your direction now.
Okay. So I'm going to take the time to push one of the sets of boxes over and try and start climbing up the other set up to the second floor. Okay.
So I'm going to call that, this is going to be an interesting roll. I'm not sure exactly what to do with this. I want to say that it would be a wreck, but because you don't have any skill in that, I'm going to call it a prowess. Unless anybody can think of a reason why prowl or finesse makes sense here.
I can argue that I'm not going to knock over one of the boxes over and instead just focus on trying to climb up to the second floor. Quick enough in a way because I do have reflexes as my special trait, so I do get to react faster than most people in a situation.
Okay, so then I would definitely say that it's we'll call it a prowl, and we'll call it a +1 for your skill, or for your special ability, I guess.
Prowl or finesse?
We're gonna call it a prowl because you've got a better skill in it, because you've got a better rating in it at this point.
Okay. So I'll run risky, but the effect probably standard.
The effect is going to be great because you're going to essentially successfully circumvent this guy grabbing you.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy!
So you begin to kind of scramble up those boxes, and you're starting to reach that second floor where you're able to to grab onto the windowsill, and you feel yourself yanked back down, and you come to the ground. And this is the first time we're actually going to take physical damage of any kind. And if you look at your character sheet, there is a little thing called harm that's under stress. Now, you're going to take essentially a 1 harm, and we're going to call it bruised. And what that means is that whatever effect that you would accomplish, or whatever effect that you would be happening, would get reduced by 1. So, for example, if you're dealing with great, it would get reduced to normal or whatever. If you were doing normal, it would get reduced to limited.
Okay.
So
it's fine.
You are now bruised because he has basically pulled you down and has kind of slammed you to the ground. All right. So we're going to go with Muscles. Muscles, you've just knocked this guy out. Your boss is kind of trying to wake the girl in the room. What are you doing? You're laying on top of the guard that you just knocked out.
Well, I would have delivered the taters, of course, because that's what I was told to do.
God. So you bring the bag of potatoes into the room.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wakes a girl up like a nice bag of potatoes.
Oh my god.
That's what I was told to do.
Okay, you deliver the potatoes, and you see Sky in the corner trying to wake the girl.
Are we done here?
Not quite. Did this girl respond at all? I shook her. I asked why they're keeping her sedated.
She's starting to wake up, but she's not able to coherently respond to you yet.
All right.
When she looks at you, she's not able to focus on you yet. She's starting to kind of wake.
Okay. Muscles. Swap the potatoes for the girl. Potatoes in bed, girl in your arms.
Okay, boss. I'll throw the potatoes on the cot and just sort of pick up the girl.
Yeah, and tuck in those potatoes real neat.
I almost dropped the girl, and then I'm like, I'll lower it down, and then I'll like get the little blanket, give her a little kiss.
They'll never know the difference.
You're so smart, boss.
I know I am.
This is why you're in charge. This is why you're the man with the plan.
As you guys are having this exchange, you hear what, and you hear a commotion outside as if some bag of potatoes is hitting the ground. And there's a commotion outside.
Well, I'm gonna go check that out. I'll just sort of wobble along.
With the girl with the girl in your arms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just over one shoulder.
Okay, so you get to the top of the stairs and you see one of the other, essentially minions or guards, kind of just has slammed Moon into the ground, and he's got his legs, and Moon is just kind of splayed onto the ground like this.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
He pauses and kind of looks up and goes, "What do you mean?"
This is my mate. What are you doing?
But he's doing bad stuff.
No, you're doing bad stuff.
No, you're doing bad stuff.
No, you're doing bad stuff.
I haven't even done anything.
Don't tell me about doing bad stuff. You're doing bad stuff. Why you have the girl?
Well, you got my friend on the ground.
Because he was doing bad stuff.
You're doing bad stuff.
No, you're doing bad stuff.
I assume this.
Can I just be like, Muscles, just punch him, please?
Oh, those are the magic words.
He looks down at Moon as he's got his legs. He's like, "What? Oh no, that ain't gonna happen." He drops his legs and immediately makes his way towards Muscles.
Girl will like over the one shoulder, pipe him in the other. I'm just gonna be like, "This is just a little. You're doing bad stuff," and I'm just gonna clock him over the head.
For Muscles' simple moral judgment of him doing bad stuff, he gets one additional die.
I'm also adding I'm adding a stress to grab the man's ankles as he starts walking over. Because I'm petty and I don't care.
Okay, so as an additional, you get an additional die because Moon is slowing the guy down. So why don't you roll it unless you've got something else, and we'll call it. I'm going to call it risky because the girl's in your arms.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say that the effect is definitely great.
All right.
And that means you get 2 additional die.
I'm also going to push myself again.
Okay, so you get an additional die for there.
Oh, I still have an inspiration, yeah.
Okay, then we'll call that without the stress.
Okay. Hold on. Oh, no, I lost the thing. Okay, so risky, standard...
Risky, great.
Oh, risky, great. Excuse me.
And you got
risky, 3. Great. Plus 3. Let's hit this man. Ah!
Oh my God! You hit that man.
As you bring your pipe, as you're like holding onto the girl with your left hand, you bring the pipe down and no, you're doing bad stuff. He's like, no, and the pipe slams on the guy's head, and he takes the hit. He kind of looks. God. His eyes go blank. And he just falls backwards. And you have successfully taken out all of the guards in this location.
I don't know whether I should be proud of that or not.
These guys are mean.
Well, Moon, you helped him take out that guard. I mean,
yeah,
you definitely
don't feel
tripped
like
him
I
up.
Accomplished anything. I feel slightly defeated after this encounter.
Muscles, I don't know how to tell you this, but we're also doing bad stuff.
No way!
Excuse me, speak for yourself. I got a debt to pay.
But the lady said we were helping.
We're helping, don't worry about it.
We're helping? Okay,
yes.
Good.
Scott, you and I are going to have a serious talk about this man's IQ.
All right. So it is now basically around the time where we were kind of scheduled for. Oh my God! Sorry guys. Hold on a second.
Scheduled for dog.
It's a dog break.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you dogs.
Oh my God, Willow, hush. Hush up. All right. So because you guys just took what I expected to be the first hour of the adventure and you made it in 3 hours. I want you to tell me how you're going to get. Just describe to me, and then we're going to make one roll. We're going to make it a group roll. But I want you guys to describe to me how you're going to get from the night market back to the mansion.
Oh, I actually had this idea in my head. I was going to flashback to talk to one of the merchants to have a cart ready and the extra cart sitting there that would be a decoy. And what we were going to do is I was going to get in the cart with Muscles, and Sky and the girl were going to and head towards Rosalind, while me and the other cart were going to sit there acting like we were actually like a distraction, like something went wrong with us getting away and we've messed up.
Oh yeah, you guys take a sack of potatoes too.
Yeah, and we take a sack of potatoes so it looks authentic.
All right. As the GM, I'm perfectly okay with this, and it looked like Sky had his own idea, so I'm kind of curious about his idea. But I have one question in mind with this particular plan, because Sky would be taking the girl, and Moon and Muscles would be taking essentially the heat. Moon, are you sure you want to piss off the Circle of Flame?
At this point, I don't have a choice.
I mean, arguably, will you ever play this character again? Let's go meta for a second.
Yes, actually, I would seriously consider playing this.
So please just be aware that you, as this character, are taking on more heat if you get caught, and the Circle of Flame finds out.
Yes.
By the way, okay. I've got a little cute little bunny mask I put over my face so that nobody can recognize.
Where did you get that?
I took it.
Okay, never mind.
Muscles,
I
did
just
you steal
realized
from a
that
child
wanna play-
again?
I'm sorry. I want to play
It
a
was
side.
pretty.
I want to play a side story where I find out how Muscles acquired the mask.
Oh, it's simple. I saw a kid with a cute little bunny mask. I took it.
okay, I do not want to be in a cart with a man with a bunny mask on. I changed my mind. I'm going with Sky.
It's to hide my face.
Yeah,
Alright,
no,
Muscles.
no. I'm joining Sky on this endeavor.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
You're
Sky.
coming with me. Muscles.
Sky,
Your
did you have
job
a
is to
plan?
get in this car with the potatoes, and you're gonna go to somewhere else. Okay, go somewhere
All right,
far
boss.
away.
Whatever you need. I'm gonna take out all of this heat. Oh my god.
All right, where do you send Muscles? What I mean, you guys have the maps with the districts on them. Where do you send Muscles?
Where are we going again? We're going
Brightstone.
to.
You should be going to Brightstone. Now, there was actually a whole set of encounters that were supposed to happen between Night Market and Brightstone, but I'm just gonna make it single roll at this point.
Honestly, we should just send him to prison.
That was what I was kind of thinking too.
To the Iron Hook prison. You're just gonna
The
have him
Iron-
drive right up to the Iron Hook prison.
Yeah,
Whatever you say, boss.
Yeah, we'll deliver the criminal.
deliver the potatoes to the prison.
Oh my god, you guys are terrible.
Actually,
You guys
no,
are-
we can
The
send
I
him.
don't know any
the
better.
blue coats know not to mess with him.
Like 5 blue coats know not to mess with me.
Yeah, you know. I'm sure they spread the word. Or not.
To be
Well,
fair,
so that was a pretty.
how much heat do we actually have? Like, yes, there's been a ton of commotion, but there have been no gunshots. The only thing that was loud is like something in the warehouse broke. There's been a decent amount of yelling. Assuming that Sky puts on like a decent disguise or something and I sneak out and Muscles walks out with a fucking sack of potatoes. Honestly, it doesn't even matter at that point. Like, we can technically just kind of like waltz out of there. Whether or not people on the street, and depending on how late this is, actually it works. But
Well, I got the mask. They won't recognize me.
Oh, I
My
know they won't
towering figure, like covered in scars.
in a bunny mask. Yeah, no. I vote we just send him to the. I vote we send him to Coleridge.
Yep.
I love the comment in chat. Nobody cared until he put on the mask.
I mean, I cared. Yes, that is entirely true.
Okay, so let's be clear again. You're sending Muscles to Iron Hook with a bag of potatoes and a cart.
Yes. Correct.
Okay. How is Sky and Moon and Angelica going about getting to? Again, this is all kind of high level fast stuff at this point, and it's going to be one roll. How are you guys getting there? Are you going the same way?
I can give you the high level answer carefully.
I'm scared.
The same way we stole the sack of potatoes. Successfully.
By getting diverted for 2 hours.
Well, wait a minute. I believe one of you still has a crit that.
Yes,
I
I
do.
still have.
I do.
I haven't used a crit either. Technically,
I'll
I
just
could
use the
just say,
chrono on the one roll that decides everything. Perfect.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's perfect.
I was gonna save it for something smaller, but it's fine.
Why?
You guys.
What
have
I would say is our plan would be that we would take a cart and we would stuff her in the back of the cart and we'd carry that cart all the way to like just outside the outskirts of Brightstone. And then what we'd do is just we'd have her in a burlap sack or something. We'd put her in the burlap sack and then we'd carry her into the mansion of Brightstone.
So what you're telling me is that you're going to take the cart and actually put it on your shoulders and carry it all the way to Brightstone?
Yeah, I got places to be.
I'm sorry, that's what I heard. So no, but so you're basically going to you're going to hide her in the back of the cart and then
Yes.
take her all the way there
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
with Muscles taking the distraction. Okay,
Mhm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
and who's using their crit on this?
I don't care.
I will.
Okay, so this is what happens.
Everything
You-
hits the fan.
Muscles gets in the cart. He's like, "Okay, boss," and takes a sack of potatoes and immediately begins to make his way through the night market towards Coleridge. And he kind of wiggles his way through the streets, and he doesn't see any blue coats all the way through Night Market. But as he makes his way through Coleridge, it's kind of a slum and kind of a downtrodden area, and he's still making his way. And people wave at him because it's unusual to see an empty cart making its way through Coleridge. And
it's got a sack of potatoes. It's not empty.
Do you tell anybody that asks why are you coming through?
Oh, I got potatoes.
No, you're supposed to tell them that you have a girl.
Wait, no, don't do that.
Don't do that.
All right, so they
whatever you told me before, I'm telling them.
Oh God. So he successfully makes his way to the prison, and as he gets to the prison gates, the guard basically walks up and says, we weren't expecting a delivery today. Who are you?
I have potatoes.
I swear to God, if we have the prison guards on us by the end of today.
The guards sort of look to the left and the right. Why are you delivering potatoes?
I don't know. Do you want them?
No, we don't want any potatoes. I think you can take it back to wherever you got them.
Wait, are you... just take the potatoes.
I don't have any way to store the potatoes. I'm sorry. And the guard begins to turn, shaking his head like you're crazy.
I'll just leave them here. I'll just...
Oh my... No!
As you drop the potatoes, they all scatter across, and some of them kind of just continue on, rolling until they go off the little bridge that is, and fall into the moat that is surrounding the prison area. And they look back at you, and they shake their head, and they just wave you to leave.
Good day. Let's take the card, and I'm gonna head straight back to our base.
I feel a shiver down my spine as I hear that thought approach his head, and I just lean over to Sky as we're doing this, and I'm like, we are so screwed. I should have taken the heat.
And Muscles successfully makes his way back to your hideout.
Are you sure you can't just roll to get lost or something? Please, can you roll to get lost?
Further adventures of Muscles will happen at a later date. I guarantee it. All right, so Moon, Sky, you guys are making your way through the streets of the Night Market, and you make your way through Six Towers. Now, so what's interesting about Six Towers, and this is actually where a lot of the complications are going to happen in this game, is the interesting thing is that the Great Cloaks have a significant amount of control on the streets of Six Towers at night. So you're actually going to face a lot, but you successfully navigate without coming into problems. You hand out bribes where it's necessary. You shake hands where necessary. You intimidate where it's necessary. Sky, you find yourself becoming the big man of your crew. You find your command and your ability, and you make your way through Six Towers and find yourself back in Brightstone. And now that you're in Brightstone, you take Angelica and you put her in the burlap sack. Yeah. And I guess you just walk the streets of Brightstone till you make it back to the mansion?
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan.
And so you make your way back to the mansion at the end of that street. You see the wrought iron gate with the vines and the wrapped foliage all around it, and it opens automatically. And as it opens, you see that the door is actually already open, and that the manservant is standing in there, and he's waving you in.
Honestly, at this point, I hand the child to I'm assuming I'm not carrying it at this. I was carrying it at this point. I just hand the burlap sack to Sky, and I'm like, I ain't dealing with this. This is your
Sky,
problem now.
I almost throw it, forgetting that it's not a sack of potatoes, but don't.
All right. So does that mean that Moon actually doesn't step onto the estate?
No, I'm not stepping onto that estate.
Before we make it inside, actually, I want to try and get her completely awake. If I can do that before.
This is another mechanic situation that I had hoped that popped up. I definitely want you to make this try.
Okay.
So let's look at your skills real quick, or let's look at your actions a bit real quick. What do you think is the right way for you to actually wake her up?
I suppose my study from having various knowledge of I run a small legitimate operation that deals in vices. I probably have a bit of knowledge of what kind of drug was used on her.
Okay.
And could probably feasibly know the best method to wake her up, be it splashing some water on her, smelling salts, whatever it may be.
Okay, so you've only got one action pip or one rating in study. Okay. So on top of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an additional die for your description, because I actually want this to happen, and I'm also going to give you an additional die for Spirit Bane Charm, which actually does apply to.
Oh, I have one as well.
Does that mean that you're going to assist him in waking her up?
No. No. I'm gonna go give Rosalind a stern talking to.
All right.
Well, Rosalind is actually inside.
Oh,
so
no.
That means you have to step onto the estate.
I'm gonna have to step onto the estate then, aren't I?
We're not doing that yet. I'm gonna wake her up before we even step into the gate. I don't want this guard seeing me doing it either.
I'm gonna walk.
All right. So that actually makes a bit of sense. So when you get to Brightstone, do you try to do this before you make the journey across Brightstone?
Yeah, just kind of try and find a dark alley somewhere, to lay low and do this.
Okay. All right. So describe to me specifically how you're going to do it. You have all the information that you described. You have the awareness. You have all the skills. What specific action does study allow you to do to try to wake her up with the Spirit Bane charm?
This also depends. What is the Spirit Bane charm? I don't actually know what that is.
It's really kind of up in the air about how it actually applies to your character. But in this particular case, what I'm going to say is it gives you an awareness of the arcane, gives you additional understanding of things that are related to ghosts, related to what your basic understanding of magic is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so So I guess having this understanding of whatever might have drugged her, and also having an understanding of, this some sort of spiritual power that's within her.
Absolutely.
I want to try to rouse that power within her to just sort of shake off this this drug effect.
This can't possibly end poorly. Could possibly go wrong.
Having my sister being a ghost and having had to, visit her every day and keep her from deteriorating in her state, I know how to kind of not quite heal a ghost, but something to that effect.
Okay, so go ahead and roll. We're definitely going to call this situation risky because it's not. You're not aware that it's game changing, but it's also not a controlled situation because you don't have a completely clear understanding of what it is that's going on with her. So we're going to call it risky.
And I'm imagining the effect is great.
Oh, absolutely. I actually, depending upon how you roll, will determine. I mean, how?
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and you're vaporized.
Yes.
How many bonus dice is that?
So you're going to get 2 bonus dice for it.
Okay. I'm going to push myself as well.
That's fine. So that's another 2 stress on top of the Spirit Bane charm, which gives you the additional on top of the way that you described it, which is giving you the additional dice. So that's 4. You're rolling 4 essentially altogether.
So wait, that's 4 bonus dice?
No, sorry, 3 bonus dice it's 4 altogether because skirmish is.
Okay.
Right. You've got 1 rating in
study. Okay. And then
study.
Can I also take a devil's bargain?
Are you skirmishing with a sleep little girl? What is going on? spaced out for a second. Is it really skirmish?
Not.
All right.
I'm not
If you take the devil's bargain, if you decide to do that, and I think that's totally great. If you do, depending upon the role,
things could go very bad for Sky. I understand.
I'm just going to say that the game could probably
just roll before you can finish saying it. I got a 6. I don't want to know what could have happened. I just want to know what happened.
You muted yourself, by the way.
I'm not muted. I'm trying to adequately decide how to narrate this. Okay, so you kind of lay her off to the side, and Moon's kind of keeping an eye, kind of looking around, just kind of paying attention to what's going on. And you take your spirit bane out, and you kind of lay it on her, and it glows a little bit as she's beginning to kind of wake up, and it's kind of stirring her. And then you finally remember smelling salts, and you grab your smelling salts from your pack, and you kind of dance them under her, under her nose, and she's just starting to stir. She kind of looks around. She sees you for a second, kind of doesn't focus on you, kind of looks around. She focuses on something in the distance and immediately screams. And it is the most blood-curdling scream you have ever heard. It is so loud and so just insanely just intense that all of a sudden you see a bunch of lights start to pop up on houses all around you. And it is incredibly intense. And she is screaming. And it almost just as suddenly as she started screaming, it stops. And she looks at you and she says, "Your sister doesn't like what you're doing." And that's where we're going to end it.
Oh, I was gonna have some stern words with Rosalind.
No.
So
I hate that this is a one shot.
I can tell you all the details of basically what happened, but you successfully waking her up, actually, so it was an actual event that was supposed to happen about midway through. Mm-hmm. And what happens when she wakes up is that she is so spiritually attuned, but she has no control over it, that she attracts the ghosts and she attracts the demons. And so what she screamed at was a demon that had made it through the barrier and was going to actually come and consume all of you. And so you were going to have to fight that off, right? You were going to have to deal with that whole situation. So
I can punch it.
But you're not there, Muscles, and you're my favorite character. Muscles wasn't there to protect Sky.
Oh.
But so when that happens, and there was actually a subplot where your sister actually came into play, and she was going to communicate with you about what was going on there. So I had to end it in such a way that it gave you that punch, but I couldn't tell you all the details. There's no way I could convey all the details.
I don't know if I told you, but I'm supposed to be enemies with Rosalind. So what I was going to do is I was going to set it up in such a way where I was going to antagonize her, but at the same time, if she killed me, the Circle of Flames debt falls to her. So I was going to put her in a position where she wants to kill me, and so desperately actually wants to, but she can't, because if she does, then the Circle of Flame is on her ass.
That's funny.
That would have been really, really interesting. Now, yeah. I'll be honest with you. This is only half of the story. There's still a big chunk of the story. I would be happy to come back and run another one shot for you guys at some later point if you want the story to continue. Because
we'll call it
that ending right there actually could lead into a whole other aspect of the story. So yeah. It's entirely on you, but yeah, you screwed up by waking her up right there. I mean,
I kind of really wanted to keep doing this. But oh man, maybe next time we can actually get the others in on this who are supposed to be here.
We'll just have them as pickups.
Next year, since these things seem to be delayed forever.
Next year, when everyone is together again.
I like I said, I would be happy to finish the story for you guys and have as many, because actually this is a really good point, because if I was the character, I would be grabbing the girl and running directly towards the Demmer sisters to figure out what's going on, because they're the ones who had some awareness of what was going on, which is a perfect opportunity to introduce additional characters and establish the rest of the story. So
I'm okay with doing another one. I should have more free time now that it's the summer and stuff, and I don't have to deal with the schedules that are all out of whack. So I will be much more available.
So
Okay.
again, I leave it in your hands. It's your call.
We will talk about this after the stream.
No, we'll talk about it on stream so that we technically we contractually oblige you to do it.
Yeah, there you go.
Sounds like a fantastic.
Yes,
but
I like this idea. But yeah, that was awesome. Let's everyone we go around, say what you thought of what happened today, what this craziness was, and say who you are and where you can find you on the internet and all that good stuff. Video Store Cowboy, I defer to you first.
Okay. So first off, let me say that this is absolutely not where I expected this game to go. Muscles and Moon and Sky, you guys, again, as always with every one shot ever that I've ever run, you sent it off in a direction that involved potatoes.
That happens in every one shot you run? Potatoes?
Potatoes come in at some point every one shot. I don't know how it is, but the sack.
That's incredible.
Brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. I had a great time running with you guys. I think that it seems like this game gives a lot of freedom to the party to be able to explore some of the silliness that goes along with the dark. And this game can get incredibly dark. So I think that that's an entertaining aspect of this particular game, is it got so silly and then it got really dark. Like, it got really dark really quickly. So thank you very much. Thank you for letting me run the game for you guys. Anytime you want me to come back and run something else for you, I will be more than happy to do it. Hopefully we can get it on a better scheduled situation, because it took us weeks to actually run this one shot.
And 2 people are missing.
Yeah, totally. But my name is Johnny. I run the Video Store Cowboy channel. The next thing I'll be doing is I'll be running City of Mist for Mike, and Ryan from Unmade Gaming tomorrow at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. And we'll be playing with the mechanics and kind of running the game at the same time and talking about the mechanics very much in the same way that we did here, but more with an eye of actually talking about the very specific mechanics of City of Mist. So channel is Video Store Cowboy, all lowercase. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you so much for coming out here. This was a ton of fun. Pablo, who are you, and what did you think of today?
I'm gonna start off by apologizing.
Why? This was awesome.
I know, but it was a little derailing, I guess. But
To be fair,
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I completely enabled your shenanigans.
I mean, you give me an order, and that's what I do.
You delivered those potatoes.
I had a lot of fun with this. I like playing a dumb character, I guess. I might do that more in the future. I stream sometimes. Follow me. There we go. Good.
Nice.
Close enough.
10 out of 10.
Close enough. So as I said, I don't actually do streaming or anything. I've played D&D with friends before, but I've normally only played 5. Speedy has actually chained me to this chair and is holding me hostage to play this. Probably because he's asked me 3 too many times to on short notice to stand in for one of his other D&D sessions. And I'm like, I don't even like you. So I'm just here. Not by choice. I mean, what? I actually did enjoy this. I really like the fact that you can fail and still proceed, because my least favorite thing about D&D when playing it is I rolled a 10 and I don't do anything when I'm shooting somebody with a bow and arrow. So I really do like the fact that you can play up the narrative. And while I love this story, I think this game actually has like a huge amount of potential for like negotiations and stuff, which I'm a sucker for. I feel like some of the best times I've ever had playing like RPGs like this is like when you actually have like tension and negotiations on the table and stuff, and like not necessarily real results, because that's not the word I should use, but it really feels like you actually can get some very like authentic outcomes, if that makes sense. So I'm enjoying this.
One of the interesting things about that we can't really dig into with one shots, and that's one of the reasons that I'm currently looking at running at least a limited form of at least 8 sessions or more of a game, is the faction system. Now, when we, just to kind of give you a real quick, when we talk about like the Circle of Flame, or we talk about the Great Coats, they're not just villains. They're not just NPCs in the background or just names mentioned. They're actual factions. And so they have faction ratings, and they actually affect the world that goes on behind what the crew is doing. And the crew's job is to assert themselves in that world full of these factions. The Dimmer Sisters are one, the Great Cloaks, the Great Cloaks, the Blue Coats, the Circle of Flame. There are the City Council is a faction, right? The Imperial Military is a faction. And so there's a lot of opportunity. And if you watch John Harper, the creator of the game, actually he runs a couple of different sessions, one on roleplay and one on Evil Hat Production, or Evil Hat Inc., which is the company that's producing Blades in the Dark. They actually play podcast, or actually play a game as well. He gets into the factions in a significant way, and it's actually a big portion of the game. So
yeah, no, they feel like real. They feel much like the races or like goblins and orcs and stuff, where they're not necessarily evil, but yeah.
I think they're like even way more developed than like the goblins and orcs, though. Like it's not just that they're not necessarily evil. Like they all have their own kind of goals that are not necessarily even like greed oriented. It could be there's the cult, there's city councils, policemen, everything, and all of those are considered factions. And since you're not necessarily good people, you can have good or bad relations with any of them, whereas in D&D generally you're in good with the city guards. Pretty much they're not going to be too mad at you unless you go on a murder hobo campaign. But there's a lot to be done there, and I definitely could understand wanting to do like an 8-week series or something like this.
I could do an 8-week series. I'd love to do something like that.
Yeah, it's so the rules are designed in such a way so that the faction rules that happen in the background are independent of what the characters do with their crew, but their crew actually affects that as well, because you can control things like territory, you can control resources, you can increase your reputation or decrease your reputation. So there's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts, and it's just it is not the cut and dry you're good or you're bad D&D kind of a thing. And I think that's one of the things that really appeals to me, is that there are those, and I hate to use this phrase, but there are shades of gray that you are going to find yourself in. And it really is up to you how much of a villain do you really want to be in this world. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's. I was actually talking about this system earlier today on Skagith's channel, because he was just doing a 24-hour stream, and we had like an hour after we finished our game to just talk about like different systems. And I was just like, this system seems really cool for just like the factions, the world that is in it that changes around you based on things that you do and just sort of independently of you. And it's definitely something that I think is pretty unique in RPGs, and that I think actually adds value, because there are a lot of like these Kickstarter RPG systems that have uniqueness to them but don't necessarily, the unique things aren't necessarily valuable, but this definitely I feel like is. It's something pretty great. But that's pretty much all the time we have for today, so thank you guys so much for playing games with me and everything. This has been really fun, and I definitely want to talk to you about trying to do some more of this at some point. So
absolutely,
after the stream ends, we're gonna have a little chat, if that's all right. But as we are ending the stream, I'm gonna send off the rest of you guys on a raid. So right now,
wait, no, I was supposed to raid an hour ago. Shit.
Different kind of raid, bud.
Oh.
We're gonna go out on a raid. We're gonna raid the channel of a tiny fox. It is her birthday today.
Aww.
Yeah, so she's really cool. I met her briefly at PAX, and she's just absolutely wonderful. She's playing currently Yoshi's Woolly World, which I have never played before, but that just sounds like very adorable and very her. She actually does knitting streams, so it makes a lot of sense that she's playing Yoshi's Woolly World. But yeah, go ahead, go over to her channel, copy and paste that thing that's in chat. The Slowpokes is not so just wandered in for a raid, and we're gonna go ahead and show her some love. So thank you guys so much for coming out here, watching, playing. This has been so much fun. I will see you guys next time, and as always, don't forget to take it slow. Bye.
Does that mean this is still a chat?
Well then. Is it
Right, and we're clear.
And we're clear?